ESPN
102.5 The Game. Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving. TriStar Movers with 5-star service. With Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, ESPN 102.5 The Game. Streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda Gentry. I am back today. We are live at Bridgestone Arena. Predators tonight taking on the Boston Bruins. Preds Game Day broadcast brought to you by Hermitage Design Center, the professional source for lighting, hardware, appliance, custom kitchens, and baths on the web at gohermitage.com. Predator is going to be unveiling a new jersey here in just a little bit, so that's exciting. Caroline and I have not seen the jersey, but we have talking points for the jersey.
We have bullet points, so I can picture it in my head.
There is at least that. So yesterday I was off. Caroline did a great job with David Beauclair, but I was off. I got my COVID booster, so I didn't want to come on the air and then start feeling bad. I had no side effects, so
good.
I'm sure other people have had side effects or things of that magnitude. I didn't have any side effects, but anywho, I decided I was going to take the whole day easy. So I literally got my shot in the morning, and I sat last night in bed, and I watched like 15 30 for 30s. ESPN Plus, and I'm not here to pitch ESPN Plus to the people, but ESPN Plus has the whole catalog of 30 for 30s. And I watched like 5 of them. It's funny. I watched the one on USC football. I think back to Reggie Bush and in the days, and it's like, I remember, and I can't remember how outraged I was or wasn't, but I remember like when all the drama started about USC and Reggie Bush, and it's like, Reggie's mom's stepdad didn't pay rent on a house they owned in San Diego. Punish Reggie. What? Like, what? Like, so it's funny to think back to like what it used to be. And so there's a new docuseries that's out. It's on ESPN Plus called Man in the Arena. And I think if you're a sports fan, you probably have seen an ad or somebody pitching Man in the Arena or something or another. But it is basically The Last Dance, the Michael Jordan documentary. It is essentially that for Tom Brady and the Patriots dynasty. So each episode is about one of the Super Bowls that Brady played in. And the third episode is out, and there are 3 people in each episode. So the first one, for example, Drew Bledsoe was featured along with Brady and Willie McGinnis. Mike Vrabel is part of this one. And so I watched yesterday. Obviously, I think everybody knows that, some people are World War II historians and love that. And some people, if you've got something about Tom Brady, I'm probably interested in it. So I'm watching as a fan, but I'm also watching to see what Vrabel says, because maybe there's something in there that, maybe opens my eyes to Vrabel as a coach. And they were talking about something that they had. Now, this is the 3rd Super Bowl, so they've already won 2. And they've already kind of developed their nucleus and their core, and it's guys like Brady, and it's guys like Vrabel and Bruschi and McGinnis. And the 3 of them, Bruschi, Brady, and Vrabel, lay out the edge that the Patriots had. Here's what they said in Man in the Arena.
All right, we got a lot of work done here today, a lot of situations.
I don't think Bill was ever going to needle us any more than we needled each other. You know what I mean? I think that we would go at each other with 2x4s and, competing and talking.
Belichick loved the competition, and I think he really loved seeing guys compete against one another. He loved the fact that we go out there and try to beat each other up. He loved the fact that there'd be fights. He loved the fact that there'd be guys talking to one another. So I think he created that environment because he just wanted to see competition.
And that's a huge competition when you're in there, and there's me, and there's Rodney, there's Willie, there's Vrabel, there's Pfeiffer.
Ty Warren, Willie McGinnis, Brew, or Vrabel, or Vince Wilfork. Guys on offense like Troy Brown. We'd always say, you're never getting edge on me. I'm gonna outwork you. All those guys, that's what we were. We were the edgers.
We had such a trust and an understanding of who each other was that you could talk a lot of and you could be as ruthless as you wanted to be.
You weren't held accountable by the coach. You weren't held accountable by the fans. You were held accountable by the guy that was sitting next to you every day.
It wasn't about the more you can do, it was who could do the most.
You think you're coming to the weight room at 6:30 in the morning? I've already got a half hour on you. I've been here since 6.
Not getting it in, huh? I'm getting the edge on you.
Just verbally letting people know out in the open, this is what I did, what'd you do?
You think you got an hour of treatment? I got 2 hours of treatment.
Or when somebody leaves the building, are you leaving already?
Oh, you only watched an hour of film today? I watched 3.
Still not doing the extra. I'm getting the edge on you today.
They look like a machine. Oh, they are.
It takes guts to do that. It takes relationships. It takes courage, too.
That effort, that joy, that enthusiasm that we had, that carried us.
It's another professional football player. This is a grown man, but I'm going to call you out.
That proved a point. It's like, yeah, this might sound cute, but I'm being really serious right now.
So there you go. And I heard that and I thought, oh, man. And I'll say this. I think I do a lot of that, too. I think that the way that I interact with other people is, you think I'm kidding? I'm being kind of serious here. But the key to that is the Patriots held each other accountable. That it wasn't about Belichick. You heard right there. Who is Ty Warren, by the way? You know who Ty Warren is?
I don't.
Ian, you know who Ty Warren is?
Doesn't really ring a bell.
Not one of the named players of the Patriot dynasty. So when Brady brings his name up and says Brewski and Willie and Vrabel and Troy Brown and Ty Warren, and notice he didn't say Richard Seymour. So that tells me that Ty Warren was a big leader for those Patriot teams. And I watched this and I thought to myself, is Vrabel getting that out of his own team? Does Vrabel's team, which has now been together for 4 years, the core of this group, Byard, Lewan, Tannehill, Henry, A.J. Brown, Jones, Saffold, Simmons, Landry, Evans, does Vrabel's team hold themselves accountable like that? I am pushing you to do extra. And if you don't do extra, then you won't make it here. Because when you go out and you hire John Robinson to be your general manager and he turns around and hires Mike Vrabel to be his coach, you're trying to be the Patriots. And I get it. They don't have Tom Brady. I understand that. And I know that not everybody's Tom Brady and whatnot. But you're trying to be New England when you do that. When you hire a Nick Saban assistant, you're trying to be Alabama. Georgia isn't Georgia. Georgia is Alabama from 5 years ago. And they're the number 1 team in the country with a great offensive line, a great defensive line, a great running game, and a so-so quarterback. So do we think, this is the question I want to start off with today. Do we think the Titans hold themselves to that level of accountability? And this isn't like anything that you can tell off the field, in my opinion. Like, you can't watch the game on Sunday and say, well, Dontrell Hilliard fumbled the football, so clearly the Titans don't have what those Patriot teams had in terms of team accountability or team pushing each other, or what they called the edgers, which is what Brewski and Brady kept saying in this documentary, is the edgers. And you heard it right there. All 3 guys did their interviews in separate locations, but did it not sound the same? Brady, oh, you got an hour of treatment? Well, I got 2 hours of treatment. Vrabel, oh, not getting in the extra? Okay. It was all the same. Do you think the Titans hold themselves to that level of accountability? And I'm going to start and say no. I do not. I think this team is too nice. I think that these guys, I can't see it. And look, I'm not in the locker room. So I am making an assumption right here without knowing. And unless you're on that team, you don't know. But no, I think the Titans are too nice. I don't think that they are mean enough to each other. I don't think they dig at each other enough. Where, like Vrabel said at the end of that clip, it might sound like it's, being kind of cute, but in reality, it's pretty serious. Because I don't think Taylor Lewan would say some of the things Taylor Lewan would say if the guys inside the locker room were going to rip his rear end the second he did it. And I just look at that, and I think they're good guys. Like, I think Henry's a great guy. I think Henry, we talk about doing the extra. I think Henry does the extra. I think Byard's a hard worker. I think Simmons is a good one. Like, I think those, I think there's, it's a decent culture on that team. But I don't think it's that. I don't think it's, who's going to get on Jackrabbit Jenkins for the next bad angle that he takes on a tackle? And who's going to look at these guys? And again, it's not just about what you see on the field. It's about you showed up at 8 o'clock? I got here at 6. What are you doing? And I'll say this. I've worked with people who, if you were to do that, they'd get really offended. Like, really, really offended. And in that Patriot locker room in the early 2000s, you just left. You got weeded out. Oh, you can't take it from Vrabel? You can't take it from Brewski? You can't take it from Willie McGinnis? You can't take it from Brady? Goodbye. Go play somewhere else. I don't think the Titans hold each other to that standard. I don't think the Titans are mean enough to each other. And mean's probably not the right word. Like blunt or direct, or I don't know what the right word to say here is.
The lighting a fire under each other's asses kind of culture or environment that it sounded like in Man the Arena. It was constant pushing and constant outdoing of one another. And it wasn't motivation.
It reminded me,
so to say.
It reminded me of the line in The Last Dance where Michael Jordan said, I pushed guys who didn't want to be pushed. And I had a certain standard that you played the game at. And if you didn't play at that standard, then I was going to make life hell for you, and I'd ridicule you until you do. And that's what the Patriots did. I don't think the Titans do that. And I think that I wonder if Vrabel is struggling with getting guys to do that. And again, there's nothing that you can see on the football field that would tell you the Titans don't have this level of camaraderie that is also like it's a mixture of camaraderie and accountability. There's nothing you'd see on the football field like a fumble and say, well, they don't have it. But I think the results speak for themselves in New England about how hard these guys worked and how hard they pushed themselves. I don't think the Titans have it. I don't think the Titans, and again, this is all an assumption based upon what I know from the outside, just like all of you. But I don't think they have it. That's just me.
It's tough to say because earlier in that episode of Man in the Arena, Teddy Bruschi talked about how you kind of had to have two different personalities. You had your media personality, one game at a time, we're a team. The coach speak that we always call Vrabel out for doing in press conferences. And then when you're in the locker room, it's we're going to beat this team. And we're going to look forward to the Super Bowl. And we can win the AFC Championship. Because it's easy to say one game at a time, but in their minds, they're thinking championship. So it's tough to say that, what we see from the Titans, both on the field and in press conferences, it could be a completely different culture in the locker room.
But
I'm with you. My gut tells me it's not that kind of cutthroat mentality.
I think they got too many nice guys. And I'm going to use an example of somebody who, by the way, is on another radio station. But Blaine Bishop, when he was on the Titans, when they were first the Titans, he didn't care how you felt about, from what I've been told, like with guys on that team, he went out there and he pushed every single player on that field. Every day at practice. I watched the Man in the Arena where Rodney Harrison got brought to the Patriots, and it reminds me a lot of what I heard about Blaine Bishop as a Titan. And those Titan teams, they had some bad, and I'm not saying bad as in bad guys, but they had some mean dudes that didn't care. D. Mace did not care about how you felt about him. But there was a certain standard that D. Mace played the game at. Eddie George, certain standard he played the game at. And I don't know how accountable all these other guys held each other, but these are veteran leaders. This Titan team has veteran guys. But do they do it like this? Do they do it with the no-nonsense, we're going to outwork everybody, do they do that? And without the ability to say this from a pure certainty standpoint, I think the answer is no. And I don't know if that means the Titans need to get tougher. I don't know if it means the Titans need to get tougher on each other, or I don't know if Vrabel, this is the job of the coach, I don't know if Vrabel has got to figure out, okay, how can I weed out the guys that can't do this and bring through the guys who can? The guys who can ridicule other guys on the team to get them to work harder. And if they can't work harder, then they got to go somewhere else. And I don't know the answer to that. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. 615-737-1025. That's the question. That is the kind of leadership that the New England Patriots had in the early 2000s that started the Patriots dynasty. Do the Titans have that in their locker room? The other side of the coin is this, which we'll get to on the other side. Is a lot of this talk, is that just like one way that, hey, they held each other accountable, but they also had really good players like Tom Brady and Willie McGinnis and Teddy Bruschi and Vince Wilfork and Ty Law and Richard Seymour and Randy Moss and Troy Brown and Deion Branch, and that it's, no, the reason the Patriots held each other accountable, and they worked harder than other people, but the truth is that the Patriots had better players, including the greatest player of all time. And is that maybe a standard that's unfair when comparing the Titans to it? 615-737-1025 is our phone number. We are off and rolling today. 615-737-1025. And we are live at Bridgestone Arena. Again, Predators with a big one tonight. Stillman and Company were delivered by TriStar Moving. It's ESPN 102.5 The Game.
It's game day in Smashville. Brought to you by Hermitage Design Center.
Sliding across to make the save is Zeros. Drennan and the score.
The Preds seek back-to-back wins when they host the Bruins.
These guys are hungry. They want to do the right things, and you can see it.
Pre-game coverage begins tonight at 6 on Smashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Social Furniture is your local one-stop all-furniture store in West Nashville with over 100 styles in store and new specials every week. Social Furniture has you covered. At Social Furniture, you'll never be hassled when you come in. Their friendly staff will help you choose the right furniture for your home. Social Furniture offers same-day delivery and free curbside pickups. Visit Social Furniture in West Nashville at 5412 Charlotte Avenue. Forget the big box store. Support local. Support social. Social Furniture on the web at mysocialfurniture.com.
Hey Nashville, get ready to party Smashville style. On February 26th, the Nashville Predators will make history with the first ever outdoor NHL game in Tennessee as they host the 2022 Navy Federal Credit Union NHL Stadium Series. The Preds will take on the back-to-back Stanley Cup champion Tampa Bay Lightning in front of 70,000 rockin' fans. Visit NHL.com/Stadium Series tickets.
Well, here we are at Pourvu. Any great words of wisdom as we peruse the 10,000 square feet of wine, spirits, beers for our tailgating and upcoming holiday parties?
One thing, great minds drink alike, huh?
Nice. Wow, look at all the wine.
Hey, don't forget to buy a bottle from Mom. Remember, you're the reason she drinks.
Hey,
check it out. Pourvu has their own app, curbside, and home delivery. Tonight, I will be having my favorite drink. It's called A Lot.
I only drink on days that begin with T. Today, tomorrow.
Well, you're in luck because Pourvu's new tasting bar is in effect Thursday through Saturday, right next to the humidor.
Party supplies with mixers, hard to find small batch specialties, and tequila.
I am telling you, you can't buy happiness, but you can buy tequila, and that's kind of the same thing, right?
Tequila, because no good story ever starts with that one time I ate salad.
Right? Pourvu means for you. They really have the best selection, service, and knowledge we didn't find at the big box stores.
May all your days be filled with umbrella drinks.
Pourvu, open 7 days a week at Indian Lake Boulevard, exit 7 off Vietnam Vets in Hendersonville.
Hi, I'm Emmitt Smith, Pro Football Hall of Famer and three-time champion.
Pro Football's all-time leading rusher Emmitt Smith talks about joint pain.
Trust me, I know about joint pain. Sure, I made it look easy, but if my body could speak, it would say, I'm in pain.
Are you living with chronic joint pain? Knees, hips, lower back, shoulders? Don't just assume the old treatments are the only treatments.
I've gone under the knife to get rid of pain, but now there are options, and you need to check them out.
Emmett's talking about QC Kinetics, exciting new natural biologic therapies that can repair and restore damaged tissue in your joints. New options now available here.
You can encourage your body to actually heal itself with the help of QC Kinetics.
Real relief with no surgery, no drugs, no downtime. Call the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics for regenerative restorative treatments with lasting relief.
But now, you and I, we have help. QC Kinetics.
Call QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024. QC Kinetics, 249-4024.
Spring Hill Heating and Cooling is here to serve you. Is your AC or heating unit old and inefficient? Is it breaking down yearly? Now is the time to replace it. Waiting can cost you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. Just like everything, the cost of a new AC unit is rising. Effective January 1st, all manufacturers are increasing prices up to 10%. Get ahead of the game and call Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, offering 60 months, no interest financing, and 10-year parts and labor warranty on all new units. Schedule now at springhillac.com or call 615-778-8855.
Interact with Stillman and Company. Call or text the show at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
It goes back to everything that then Coach Belichick says about you can be beat if you don't play well. And so it's sort of a re-entry of that message. Almost like sometimes it's good to have a reset button during a season.
The Pittsburgh Steelers break the Patriots' NFL record 21-game winning streak.
You don't know what kind of culture you have until, things aren't going well. And when you're winning 21 games in a row, the culture looks pretty good. When you have some failure or you don't do some things that you're supposed to do, then you'll define what your culture looks like and how strong it is.
The Patriots fall to 6-1. First game they've lost in 399 days.
Oh my goodness. I just love it. I love Man in the Arena, ESPN Plus. You heard Vrabel right there talk about culture. When Vrabel took the job, he was asked a question about culture. And he goes, culture doesn't matter when you win. Culture matters when you lose. That's what defines culture. I always looked at the 2019 Titans, and I always said 2-4, they make the quarterback switch to Tannehill. And all of a sudden, they end up in the AFC Championship game. And I always thought that was like the typical example of Vrabel's ability to coach as far as things like culture and other things are defined. But think about who's on that 2019 team. Logan Ryan. Ian, where did Logan Ryan come from?
New England.
Malcolm Butler. Where did he come from, Ian?
New England.
Okay. Other guys on that roster. Wesley Woodyard had been a captain his entire career going back to college. He was a captain every year. Jarrell Casey was on that team. This team doesn't have those guys. So I don't know. Do they have the accountability of those great Patriot teams where they would really needle each other? Now, the other side of it is this. It's like it's easy to say that, hey, Michael Jordan was this great leader, right? Like Michael Jordan, the level that he held everybody on his team to was, well, okay. But Michael Jordan could also go score 53 points if he needed for them to win because he was really freaking good. Those Patriot teams lucked into the greatest player who ever lived at that position at quarterback. Is it more so like we remember, oh, yeah, the leadership that we had was what carried us, when in reality the Titans just don't have the players that those Patriot teams had?
I mean, I think it's tough because you have to have a balance. I mean, you can talk all day about culture and, instituting this culture, and that's important because I don't think that you can be a dynasty, a Super Bowl dynasty, if you don't have some sort of culture, if you don't have a little bit of the, oh, you've been here since 6:30, well, I've been here since 6 kind of mentality. But, I mean, when it comes down to it, you also have to have good players, and you also have to rely on your good players to continue that culture. For example, like Derrick Henry is the best player on the Titans. Do you think he's the guy that's going to stand up there and say, how long have you been in the weight room?
Yep. Like, is Derrick Henry going to walk in there and, like, let's use Julio as an example. And I'm just using him as an example.
This is not based on anything.
I don't know. But let's say Julio goes in and does, like, the average treatment and then leaves and goes home. Will Derrick Henry go up to him and say, get your ass back in there? Or, oh, you were only here until 2 o'clock today?
I've been here since
I got
whenever.
here at 3 o'clock to get work done on my foot. You left at 2 o'clock? What are we talking about here? Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I personally, my gut tells me no. I mean, Derrick Henry doesn't seem like the kind of guy that's going to stand up in front of everyone and push everyone to be there longer, to do another set, to watch more film. He does that for himself. I feel pretty certain about that he tells himself, I'm going to do one more. I'm going to stay an hour longer. I'm going to come in an hour earlier for myself. I don't see that kind of push throughout the entire team. And maybe certain units do. I could maybe see the defensive line having that kind of relationship, having that sort of that push with each other, because we've seen a lot of development within that defensive line. And we see the chemistry between that defensive line. I just don't see it as a team-wide thing, because we heard in Man in the Arena, the offense was going to be tough on the defense, and the defense was going to be tough on the offense. And it was, you are not going to beat me. And it was almost kind of mean to a certain point.
About 3 years ago.
I don't get that vibe.
3 years ago, I went to a preseason practice. And Mariota threw a ball to Ferkser. And Ferkser fumbled the football. And I was beside myself with Mariota's reaction to Ferkser. And I said that. And Floyd hadn't been to practice that day. And I tell the story, and Floyd goes, let me guess. He went up to him and gave him a little pat on the helmet. I go, that's exactly what happened. Floyd, like that was that. And that told me all I needed to know, that Floyd already knew Mariota's reaction. And I like Marcus, but Marcus was not. I mean, Rashad Matthews said it. Like, Marcus was not holding those guys accountable. And I like Marcus, but he was never that guy. Now, I will say this. Somebody who I think would have a good, decent clue says to me that Henry, Byard, Simmons, and Ben Jones will tell players how it is, and nobody will outwork them.
I mean, I believe that coming from those guys. Ben Jones is a little bit of a curveball in there.
They love it. Ben Jones is like an average center who they pay like an above average center, and he gets hurt all the time, and yet they are like so deathly afraid of losing Ben Jones. And so
that's for a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I buy that from those four guys.
The problem
but
is,
it wasn't four guys with the Patriots.
The problem is, like Byard. I like Byard.
Mm-hmm.
But can Byard get on Rashawn Evans for not playing well enough? Does Byard have that in him? Like Jayon Brown. I thought Jayon Brown stunk up the joint the other night against the Patriots.
He did.
Like, is Byard the kind of guy? And again, it's hard because all we know about these guys are what we see on the field and what we hear in press conferences. And that really is not how the NFL works. That's really not, like, I think we could use our business as an example. Like, I'm sure a lot of people know us, but I'm not sure they really do know, like, the full dynamics of how each show interacts with one another and who likes who and who doesn't like me and whatever. And I think that's, like, part of the issue is that we're making assumptions based off of things that we see on the field that we don't really have any clue about.
Right.
And now
we
we're
don't know
saying,
what goes on in the weight room.
And now we're saying, like, well, we don't think these guys are. And it's like, well, how would you know? And I'm telling you all right now, I don't know how I'd know this. There's no way. This is all just an assumption of what I see and, like, the personalities I feel. And, like, I don't think Taylor Lewan makes it on that Patriot team. No. I think Taylor Lewan, I think he makes it because he's a good player. But I don't think he's hosting a podcast on the bus.
But Taylor Lewan loves to talk.
And that's not, I don't think, like, honestly, and again, this is without knowing, I don't think Vrabel's a big Lewan guy. I don't think he likes all the bull crap.
I don't think that I'm at liberty to say, but I wouldn't be surprised if Vrabel and other players get a little bit annoyed with the talk off the field and the lack of the production on the field.
I know a lot of these Patriots. Like, I know a lot of it. Like, just from, obviously, like, Floyd. But, like I know Deion Branch pretty well. And I just have been, like, when you talk to those guys about New England, it's like, oh, yeah, no. I mean, like, New England, it's like a private club that, like, you're not invited to. I don't know if I've ever told this story on the air. A couple years ago, we were at the Combine, and we bumped into Matt Patricia. And this is an example of how what you see on TV may not be the reality. All these stories about Matt Patricia from being head coach of the Lions were about how much of a jerk he was, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm here to tell you that the time that I spent with Matt Patricia, which wasn't in like a real football capacity, I thought he was the coolest guy I ever met. I love Matt Patricia. And it's funny because everyone's like, he's such a jerk and the players don't like him and he's just, and I'm like, oh, dude, Patricia's awesome. So we bump into Patricia in Indianapolis. And we didn't recognize him. He recognized Floyd. So we're just talking, and Floyd's like, hey, come on our radio show sometime. And Patricia's like, yeah. Here, text this guy. We'll get a time. We'll come on. So Patricia says to us like a couple days later, hey, I don't feel like going all the way over there and having to, deal with all the cameras and everything else. How about you guys just come to us? So some guy from the Lions comes and takes Floyd and I like through this like back underground path, like into Lucas Oil Stadium from the convention center, which is next door. And we go up into like the suite level where, when you watch the Combine on TV, they'll show like the coaches and the general managers like in the suites and stuff.
Right.
And there was a suite that we were in where we ended up interviewing Patricia. And it was like literally the VIP Patriot Brotherhood Club. And I'm not going to tell you who was in there, but I'm just going to tell you that it was like a who's who of Patriot coaches from over the years. And Floyd didn't even need to say it to me, but it was like within a look. And the look was like, don't you dare ever repeat a single thing that is said or that you hear in this box. Like, that was the look. And, Ian, I bet you can probably see that look yourself.
For sure.
So, like, I got this look like, hey, I felt like I was invited to the nicest country club in town on a guest pass. It's like, hey, he's on a guest pass.
He's with me. He's
all
not
right.
a member.
It's okay. We know he's not a member. You don't need to remember his name. He's just here. And I was sitting there like as a football fan, and I was like, oh, my God. It's like, whatever. It was, and I say all of this to say, like, they just did it differently. And everybody that has tried to emulate it can't do it like the Patriots. And I wondered, Floyd used to always say, well, you can't do it because you don't have Tom. You got to have Tom and you got to have Bill. And if you don't have Tom, then you can't do it. If you don't have Bill, you can't do it. But I feel like Vrabel is the closest of any of these guys that have Patriot bloodlines, because he's not a former Vrabel coach. Or a former Belichick coach. But he's the closest of any of these guys who have the Patriot bloodlines to kind of pulling off the New England South. And I don't know, like, you will never know, like, and I want to know, like, okay, do the Titans have the same kind of locker room that Vrabel grew up in New England? And it reminds me of when Malcolm Butler got pulled in the Super Bowl. And Chris Berman's doing the postgame with Randy Moss. And he goes, Belichick's got to explain why Malcolm Butler wasn't out there. And Randy Moss goes, he's not going to tell you, boom. And it's like, here's Randy, part of the group. Randy saying, good luck. You ain't going to find out. So even if you were to walk up to Vrabel today and you were to say, Mike, does that locker room have the same kind of leadership that your Patriot locker rooms had? He ain't going to tell you.
No. But I think there is one element of it, too, that Mike Vrabel is a player's coach through and through. If he can be hands-off, he is going to be hands-off. I don't necessarily see Mike Vrabel as the kind of coach that if he's not seeing this culture that he may or may not want to implement, or he may not want to, or he may not want to replicate from his days as a Patriot, he's not going to step in there and try and change the culture.
Isn't that his job?
But he seems like such a hands-off kind of coach that he's not going to go in there and completely change the way that the mindset that his players have.
Oh, I feel like that's the number one job of a coach. I feel like that's number one.
But I feel like it's one of those things, just my vibe that I got from Man in the Arena was you either have it or you don't. Because these players, they were mean to each other. They were on each other's asses. If these players can't handle that, is that Mike Vrabel's job to either say either you step up or you step out? Or do you let Mike Vrabel, or does Mike Vrabel let his players create their own culture?
I think that's his job. What else is he there to do? Like, just say who plays and who doesn't?
Well, no.
Because it's like, I mean, isn't culture building like the number one job for the coach?
But is it the kind of culture that Mike Vrabel had in New England? Is it his job to
Or are you saying
completely
build your
change?
own culture in Tennessee?
That's what I'm thinking. Is
I don't
like,
know, man.
am
You
I going to
hire
let the
Robinson?
players build their own culture and I guide them? Or am I going to say, this is the culture that we are going to have?
Do you think Georgia has Alabama's culture, or do you think that Georgia has
I think Georgia has Georgia's culture.
that Kirby brought?
I think that Kirby brought a different kind of culture to Georgia. But
See,
I can't say. I'm not in the locker room.
I think Georgia is Alabama.
I think that you just love Alabama and you think any team that's good is Alabama.
No, I think Georgia is at. What's the last? Stetson Bennett could walk in here right now, and I'd have no idea what he'd say. Like, he's never said anything all season. I don't think anybody from Georgia has said anything all season that has made any headlines.
Other than things that were recorded in the locker room of Kirby just
Think
unloading.
about this. Think about this. The guy that the Titans drafted here, everybody there was like, yeah, we had no idea this guy was completely off the rails. Isaiah Wilson, somebody told me a story. I probably shouldn't tell us on the air.
We're going to do this again. We're doing this again.
Isaiah Wilson was standing in a valet line at a restaurant one time and was apparently just had a bottle of Pappy Van Winkle in his hand. And the Titans drafted that guy in the first round. And it's like, it was like this monumental secret that this guy was off the deep end. And I know he has a lot of personal issues to work out or whatever, and I don't think he did work on those issues, and that's why the Titans probably released him. And again, I just heard that story. I don't know if it's true or not, but I mean, that's when you have guys like that and they go to Georgia and none of that is out there in the open. That's some Nick Saban stuff right there. Think about all the guys at Alabama that have left Alabama, and you're like, well, oh my God, Terrence Cody's have got alligators wrestling in the living room? I'm sure Saban would like that. 615-737-1025. I see your phone, so we're to them next. 615-737-1025. But again, talking about the Titans' culture after watching Man in the Arena, and I wonder, are they at that level that you just watch this docuseries and you're like, wow. TriStar Moving, my official movers. That's right. They're also the presenting sponsor of this show. I used to hate moving, but not anymore. Thanks to TriStar Moving. They made my entire moving process so simple, and that's why their motto is TriStar Movers with 5-star service. From the initial phone call to the final signature, moving became a breeze. They offer home protection with covering your floors, banisters, railings, door jambs, and even the doors themselves. My move was perfect. No issues at either home and no issues with my furniture, and that's how moving should be. No issues. They have a state-of-the-art storage facility in Mount Juliet. Their owners, Garrett and Robert, are true Nashvillians, and they care about helping the hometown, which is their hometown, because of the standard that TriStar Moving holds. If you're looking to move, give them a call, 615-640-1219, nationalmoving.org/radio, where they'll give you 5% off your entire move. That's TriStar Moving, 615-640-1219, nationalmoving.org/radio. Tell them Jared Stillman sent you for 5% off your entire move. TriStar Moving, my official movers.
Tonight.
Backhander, he scores! What a play by Roman Yossi!
The Nashville Predators continue their week-long slate of Eastern Conference opponents when they host the Boston Bruins. Pre-game at 6, face-off at 7 on Smashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Do great prices and selection on trucks and SUVs still exist? They do in Truckville. Sarah Chevrolet Buick GMC of Nashville has the largest selection in Tennessee. And we keep getting fresh stock on our lots every day. We're committed to offering you our best price and a 5-star experience, which is why we're still known as the destination for trucks and SUVs. Come visit Truckville, Tennessee today in person or online at sarahnashville.com.
Hey, it's Jared. Your body needs water. That doesn't mean it has to be boring. And I'm here to tell you to give Focus a try. Focus is a sparkling water with a spark. It's infused with a boost of natural tea caffeine, so you get clean energy without sugar, calories, or crash. Go to drinkfocus.com to find the full lineup of flavors and get them delivered right to your door. Enter promo code GAME at checkout for 15% off your first order. Focus is also available at your local Publix. That's Focus, P-H-O-C-U-S, on the web at drinkfocus.com.
At Houston Clinic Orthopedics, their physicians are specialty trained orthopedists that treat injuries and disorders of the upper extremities. Not all painful conditions require surgery. Therefore, their physicians look for non-surgical solutions first. Depending on your condition, you can be treated with a brace, splint, anti-inflammatory medications, rehabilitation, or if necessary, surgery. To experience world-class orthopedic care, visit tn.houston.com, where experience matters.
Shop on eBay this holiday season to get more for your dough on stand mixers, or get more for your buck on this season's hottest tech and gaming gear. And on eBay, you can even get more Cyber Monday Rewind the Clock deals. Cyber Monday prices are back for one day only. Get more and save more on premium brands with eBay's Can't Miss Monday deals. Get more when you get it on eBay.
With Early Paycheck, you can get your direct deposit up to 2 days earlier. That's another reason banking with Capital One is the easiest decision ever. Even easier than deciding to open the biggest birthday gift first.
Happy birthday to you.
Which one are you going to open first?
The pony.
Yep, even easier than that. Plus, with no fees or minimums on checking and savings accounts, is banking with Capital One even a decision? That's banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. No fees or minimums on new consumer accounts. Capital One and a member FDIC.
ESPN's Turon Davenport breaks down the Titans like no other.
On the field chemistry, I don't think it's going to be a problem. It's just going to be a process.
Catch TD Mondays at 11, Thursdays at 3, and Fridays at 8. Plus, the Talking with TD podcast drops every Wednesday.
When you draft players, it's not just for one season, it's for a career.
Presented by FreedomTireGuys.com, Nashville's premier mobile tire company, and Craneworks and Rental Works, your source for crane and equipment rental. Visit Craneworks.com. Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey Nashville, this is Dan Levitard. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Stillman and Company live at Bridgestone Arena, the TD Power Hour, by the way, at 3 o'clock. Man in the Arena, episode 3 on ESPN+. All 3 episodes. If you are a Patriot junkie, and I'm not even like a Patriot fan, I don't root for the Patriots to win games. But I love everything about the Patriots. I just love, the Floyd stories. When we'd be on road trips and he'd get tired, so he'd be more likely to tell you something. Oh, I love the Patriot stories. Somebody tweets me and says, perhaps it's not a Titans issue. Perhaps it's a 2020 issue. Maybe the world is just different. People are programmed differently than they are in those days. I would agree with that. That's, by the way, Josh Ennis, who's a longtime sports radio host. And he says maybe people are just programmed differently. I would say that society is softer. Yes.
But
is the NFL softer?
That's kind of what I was thinking, is I understand that there are certain things that you probably could have said 10, 20, 30 years ago on air, in public, whatever it may be, that is not acceptable anymore. But has football changed that much?
I'll say that I watched and not that this has anything to do with the Titans locker room, I watched the 30 for 30 on the 87 strike, the Scab Skins, the Washington. Right. And this came out in 2017. And the whole documentary is Redskins, 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 Redskins. And as a broadcaster at this point in time, you're kind of I'm cringing every time I hear it.
You're tailored to not say that team name.
And I'm yeah, times are different. Let's go to your phones. Phone line driven by WilsonCountyHunter.com.
One texter texts in and says, I don't know why Derek wouldn't push everyone else. This is his team, and it's never been clearer. He even started to show more of a leadership trait this year. I think Derek is capable of pushing everyone now that he's breaking his shell.
See, I don't think this is a one-man thing.
And I also think that the key here is he started to show more of a leadership position now that he's getting out of his shell. Because I would agree that I think we've seen Derrick Henry step up a lot this season, but he's breaking out of his shell. Do we think Derrick Henry 2 years ago would have felt, confident enough? And I don't know. I don't know what Derrick Henry acts like in the locker room, but do we think that he could have stood up in front of the locker room, in front of the weight room, and got on everyone? I don't know. I don't feel like that's his personality. But I could be totally off.
I want to know who's an alpha dog on that team that's not a great player. Who's the guy that
Ben Jones?
Yeah, but he's always been a captain, and he's who is the guy that it's oh yeah, this guy is a big part of this guy is a big time leader, and it's Matthias Farley? What? Yeah, actually, Chris Jackson. You
Cody Hollister is a dog.
You talk about guys that just bring it every day, the intensity, Chris Jackson is a guy who every day is pushing others in that locker. It's what? That when you start talking about people like that aren't the household name guys, and you start telling me they're great leaders, then I know you're telling me the truth. Because it's easy to tell me all the best players are, hey, nobody works harder than Jeffrey Simmons. Okay, well, Jeffrey Simmons, okay. Simmons, Byard, Tannehill, Henry, John. Okay, who's the guy that's really? Dennis Kelly was that kind of, that's what I guess I'm looking for.
And I'm getting a big vibe in the text line, and I want to clarify that, pushing one another and holding one another accountable, that's going to be apparent in every single NFL locker room. But the way that the Patriot teams held each other accountable was just on a completely different level.
The NFL is a socialist government. I've said this many a times, but the problem with the word socialism is that a lot of people don't know what it actually means anymore. But the NFL is actually a socialist government where everybody is designed to be 8-8. How many games have the Titans lost this year where we can go by and take out 3 plays and say, if this, and these things don't happen, the Titans lose? The Titans win.
Probably all of their losses.
Okay, how many wins can we say, if Josh Allen gets 1 yard, you lose? If Jacksonville runs the quarterback sneak on the goal line, you lose.
If New Orleans makes their extra points,
you lose. How many games are there that the Titans have won like that? And I'd argue probably most of their wins. Go back, Indianapolis, Seattle, overtime games. That's what the NFL wants, is they want everybody to be the same. They want everybody to be what was 8-8. They want everybody to be the same. And they want every game to come down right to the wire. And the rules are set up that way. The league is set up that way. Salary caps, worst team gets best pick. That's what the league sets itself up for. So when you got a Patriot team reel off 25 or 30 or whatever it was in a row, that's because they're doing something everybody else isn't. Mm-hmm. And that's why the teams that are always down around the bottom are always the same teams. The Jags, who can't stupidly get out of their way. The Jets, who can't stupidly get out of the way. The Texans, who dad died, son gets put in charge, fires a general manager, puts Bill O'Brien in. They're the worst team in the league. It's all the same. It's Washington. Everybody's supposed to be 8-8. And yet, the same 7 teams are at the bottom almost every year. That's the thing. The Patriots set themselves up differently because they operated differently than everybody else, because they worked harder than everybody else, because according to this documentary, they pushed themselves that hard. Now, again, these are Brady's words, and Brady's words are, going to make it look like we're just so hardworking, we're just so tough, it's going to be in a very positive team light.
It didn't come just from Brady.
No, at least that's the highlight of this, is that it's coming from Lawyer Malloy, and then it's coming from Rodney Harrison, and then it's coming from Willie McGinnis, and then it's coming from Brewski and Vrabel and Ty Warren, a defensive tackle I don't think anybody remembers anymore. I think there's probably something to that. 615-737-1025, TD around the corner. We'll get his thoughts on the Titans in the bye week. TD will join us at 3 o'clock. Coming up next, though, baseball. How about this? Baseball is, I don't want to say on strike, because it's the players who go on strike, and apparently it's the owners who are striking out the players. Baseball apparently is going on strike. Does anybody care? We'll discuss next. Stillman & Company. It's ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Hey, Nashville, looking to spruce up your home for the holidays? Social Furniture on the West Side has you covered. They're packed with items you can either take home with you or have them delivered to you the same day. You've heard of inventory shortages. Well, not at Social Furniture. At Social Furniture, you can get your new furniture today. Yes, the same day. For instance, take this designer leather sectional. For not $3,000, it's only $1,299 with today's delivery. At Social Furniture, the savings are huge out there. They're located on the west side, 5412 Charlotte Avenue near White Bridge Road. Maybe you need some chairs for your table, or you have guests for the holidays and need furniture fast. Well, you can find it all at Social Furniture. They have thousands of combinations to choose from, and they'll deliver today. And guess what? The best thing is you don't have to pay today. You can take 12 months to pay with no interest. So load up the family and come to Social Furniture today on Charlotte Avenue in West Nashville.
Since their doors opened in 1898 in England, Arkansas, Bank of England Mortgage has been providing down-home exceptional service. Bank of England's success is due to the talent of their loan officers and their access to hundreds of mortgage products at the industry's best pricing. Bank of England Mortgage has 3 Middle Tennessee locations ready to serve you. Go to BOE1214.com or call 615-823-1215. Bank of England Mortgage is a division of Bank of England Mortgage. Equal housing lender, member FDIC, NMLS 418-481.
312 Pizza Company is family owned and operated, bringing you a slice of Chicago to Nashville. 312 Pizza Company specializes in deep dish pizza, thin crust pizza, and all things Chicago style. Always made from scratch using secret family recipes passed down generation to generation. 312 Pizza is open every day except for Tuesdays and is located in Germantown with dine-in, takeout, and curbside available. Call 615-730-7888 to order 312 Pizza Company, Nashville's authentic Chicago pizzeria.
Touchdown, Leonard Fournette.
Witness tomorrow's NFL stars this December at the Trans-Perfect Music City Bowl.
Eli back to throw, avoids pressure, steps up, has a man wide open, Armstrong in the end zone, touchdown.
Don't miss a second as 2 of college football's most exciting programs from the SEC and Big Ten go head-to-head on Thursday, December 30th at 2 p.m. inside Nissan Stadium. For more information on this year's game, including ticket availability, visit MusicCityBowl.com to get your tickets today.
Spring Hill Heating and Cooling is here to serve you. Is your AC or heating unit old and inefficient? Is it breaking down yearly? Now is the time to replace it. Waiting can cost you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. Just like everything, the cost of a new AC unit is rising. Effective January 1st, all manufacturers are increasing prices up to 10%. Get ahead of the game and call Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, offering 60 months, no interest financing, and 10-year parts and labor warranty on all new units. Schedule now at springhillac.com or call 615-778-8855.
Darren McFarland. That should get you in the mood for a game tonight. Willie Donick.
I think between 5.5 and 6 is probably in the ballpark.
Chase McCabe.
Typically, I like to take the most difficult task and do it first.
Darren, Donick, and Chase have you covered weekdays from 10 to 2. Presented by Curacion CBD on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
This is Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving.
And there is real pessimism about how long this is going to last. I had one agent reach out to me and said that he texted his clients and basically said, look, Happy New Year, Happy Easter, I'll see you around Flag Day, okay? And the question now is about the bleeding. On the owner's side, they're not going to be able to sell tickets. And on the player's side, whenever this is resolved, the people are going to pay the price. The middle-class free agents, they are absolutely going to get wrecked.
There you go, Buster Olney this morning on ESPN. So baseball locked out at midnight. And I saw this morning the letter from Commissioner Rob Manfred, which was basically like, blame the players, don't blame us. And then the Players Association released a statement, which you'll be shocked what that said.
What the Players Association said?
Mm-hmm.
It said it wasn't the players?
Yeah, it said blame them, not us.
Well, because it's not about the players. It's all about the owners.
Well, I mean, the owners are saying the players are trying to do too much, and the players are saying that the owners aren't giving enough. And
But the reason why it's locked out is not because
they didn't go on strike.
Of the players.
The
Right? You
players
can't
did not
go on strike when there's no games.
Okay, here's a question I got, though. Like, the baseball writers last night were like, for the first time in 26 years, we have a work stoppage in baseball. Does anybody care? Now, I'm going to say this. I heard that Buster clip today, and when I heard Flag Day, which I think is June or July.
I don't know when it is.
When I heard Flag Day, I was like, whoa. If baseball starts missing games, baseball's going to be ruined for forever, okay? Like, I hope the owners and the players know this, and they'll still make their money down the road, but June 14th is Flag Day.
Okay.
But if you're missing 2 months of the baseball season, baseball is dead in America. I mean, it's already dying. Like, let's keep it real. But baseball is dead if they start missing games. But this of like, hey, we're no work stoppage on December 2nd, like, who cares? A lockout from what? So you got to go take batting practice at your college batting practice or at some other batting cage, and you can't take batting practice In the offseason, nobody cares about that.
I mean, it doesn't affect. I mean, what do we say all the time? You care about the things that affect you.
Nobody votes on things that don't affect them.
And if you are a baseball fan, right now, this doesn't affect you because they're not playing games. The players can't communicate with the owners, can't communicate with the managers and the coaches. That's what it is right now. So if you are a baseball player or a manager of a team, this is a pretty huge deal. But for the average baseball fan, it doesn't matter.
We don't care.
Like, I don't care if, Corey Seager can't talk to the owner of the Rangers. Like, I don't really care.
Yeah, we don't care. I mean, I've seen the NBA lockout before, and I've seen what that's like both on the inside. I mean, look, I was on a vacation one time. So I was very, very close with Matt Bonner, used to play on the Spurs. Mm-hmm. He and I are very, very close. And he used to be vice president of the NBA Players Association. They locked out. His sister worked for the NBA. We were on a vacation one time on the beach. And, they technically weren't supposed to be talking to each other. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I've seen, what that all meant. Nobody should care. And I will say this again on the baseball front, and I don't think that baseball really moves the needle around here, so I'm not going to spend much more time on it because TD's coming up in 5 minutes. But I hope both sides of this equation realize that any future this game has is probably hanging in the balance here with the idea of if they miss games again. The problem with 1994 that was so bad was the fans felt like to cancel the World Series and to do the fans like that when baseball was way more popular than it is today, that was kind of like a middle finger to the fans. That was like, screw you guys. We care so much about our own money that we don't care about you. But if you start missing games, then all the, whatever you want to call it, all the good that you've done by having labor peace since 1994, which was catastrophic to baseball. Everything that you've done goes right down the toilet if you start missing games. So I got to believe that the owners and the players are smart enough to get this figured out and that spring training, and look, I'm not sure I really care if spring training opens a week or two late. I would prefer it not, but I'm not sure I really care about that.
I don't think you'd notice if it did.
But if we start missing baseball games, if it's April 26th and we don't have baseball because the owners and the players can't decide how to split $10 billion, now I got a little problem here. And now I got an issue, and I'm not saying that I'd be mad because I would because I'm a baseball fan. But I think that what the irreparable damage that you would do to your sport, as an owner, you're a caretaker of the sport. Think about all these old peepops who are in the NFL that talk about the shield. That's what this is. You are ruining baseball if you miss a single game. If not, nobody cares.
And that's the last thing that any baseball fan, the average baseball fan, wants to hear about is two rich dudes fighting over money.
Sports fans don't want to hear about it.
No. You make millions of dollars. You have millions of dollars. You're a billionaire. Nobody wants to hear you fight about your money. And I understand that is part of the game, but nobody wants to hear about it. I say we don't care now, but come April, whenever opening day is, people are going to care.
No. If you start missing games, there's a totally different qualifier here.
Right.
If you start pushing the sport back, now I got problems. If it's Buster only said in Flag Day, you got a problem.
I care.
I'll say this, the Buster thing about the one agent said Flag Day, that kind of reminds me during COVID of all the takes that were coming out about the NFL season will be canceled and things of that magnitude, which obviously didn't happen. TD is around the corner, the TD Power Hour. He joins us next. What are TD's thoughts on the Titans as they head into the bye? Should Titan fans be optimistic, pessimistic? I don't know. We'll ask TD about that. Stillman and Company, we're live from Bridgestone Arena. We're delivered by TriStar Moving. It's ESPN 102.5 The Game, and as always, we're streaming on the Game Nashville app.
Take us wherever you may go.
There is going to be a whole lot of work going on.
Tune us in anywhere, anytime.
I think he has some big play in him.
Just search The Game Nashville in your app store and download today. And keep it locked on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen. closer, bolder, golden. Nashville SC Stadium is arriving in 2022, and season tickets are on sale now. With just 150 feet between the pitch and the last row, you'll be right there in the action no matter where you sit. If you thought soccer in Nashville was a party already, you ain't seen nothing yet. So come on in, grab a seat, and stay a while as we open a new era of Nashville sports. For more information on season tickets at the new Nashville SC Stadium, visit nashvillesc.com/22tix.
Are you a father that is passionate about your fundamental constitutional right to parent your own child or children? Has your parenting time or your income been affected by COVID? This is Amanda J. Gentry, and I am a fierce defender of your constitutional rights. The courts in Tennessee are under an obligation to maximize equal parenting time. We do not live in an every other weekend world anymore. At the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry, fathers are extremely important, much like my own father was. Go to AmandaJGentry.com or call or text 615-604-6263. That's AmandaJGentry.com.
Victory Award-winning New Amsterdam Vodka knows all about it. But in life, it's not always so clear. So New Amsterdam Vodka believes that in life, you've got to find your own wins. You've got to overcome your fears, go all in, even when you've got nothing at all. Find your wins. And when you do, raise that glass of New Amsterdam Vodka in victory. You've earned it. New Amsterdam Spirits Company, Modesto, California.
Happy holiday from Houston Clinic Orthopedics, conveniently located where you live and work with various locations in and around the Nashville area. Houston's physicians specialize in spine, joint replacement, knee, hip, upper extremity, and many other orthopedic conditions. At Houston Clinic Orthopedics, they strictly adhere to all CDC guidelines for the patient's and staff's safety. To experience world-class orthopedic care and see a list of all Houston physicians and specialties, visit their website at tn.houston.com and book your appointment online today.
In 1972, a Nashville family business story began when Bill and Beverly Finley founded Volunteer Hose and Gasket. 3 generations have grown the business into the local industry leader supplying just about anything to anybody, from the largest of contractors to your neighbor that mows his own yard. Over 1 million items in stock: belts, belting accessories, gaskets, gauges, hose fittings, hydraulics, industrial hoses, lubricants, sealing products, tubing, fire protection, and more. All at volunteerhose.net. If Volunteer Hose and Gasket doesn't have it, then you probably don't need it. Call them at 615-242-0461.
With just one spray of Microban 24, your hard surfaces are sanitized for up to 24 hours. Touch after touch after touch.
So 6 hours from now?
Still sanitized.
12 hours?
Yep.
18 hours.
We're really doing this.
24 hours.
When used as directed, one spray of Microban keeps killing 99.9% of bacteria touch after touch for, up to 24 hours.
Wow.
Microban 24, the sanitizer 4 out of 5 doctors would use in their own homes. So why aren't you?
Whether you're vaccinated or not, it's important to know the symptoms of COVID and its variants. Fever is the leading sign, and only the Exergen temporal scanner thermometer has been proven accurate with more than 100 clinical studies. Non-contact thermometers have no clinical evidence behind them and cannot be relied on. Be vigilant and seek medical advice at the first sign of fever. Be accurate with Exergen. Learn more at exergen.com.
Nashville's best sports talk, locally owned, home of our Nashville Predators. WPRT-FM Pegram, 97.5 Murfreesboro, WBUZ HD2 Laverne, online at thegamenashville.com. We are
ESPN
102.5 The Game. Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving. TriStar Movers with 5-star service. With Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving. ESPN 102.5 The Game, live on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda Gentry. 102.5 The Game live today. Predators, Bruins tonight, 7 o'clock. Right here, ESPN 102.5 The Game, and our broadcast at Bridgestone Arena, brought to you by Hermitage Design Center, the professional source for lighting, hardware, appliance, custom kitchens, and baths on the web at gohermitage.com. TD is with us for the TD Power Hour. In the spirit of the NASCAR Awards, which are in town, TD, I'm going to go ahead and give off another sponsor. The TD Power Hour presented by FreedomTireGuys.com and Craneworks and RentalWorks. FreedomTireGuys.com, Nashville's premier mobile tire company, online at FreedomTireGuys.com. Craneworks and RentalWorks, your source for crane and equipment rental. Visit Craneworks.com TD.com. TD, tough Titan loss on Sunday in New England. The entire team was hurt for the most part, and yet they still somehow made it a competitive game on Sunday. They enter the bye, the number 3 seed right now in the AFC. The division still looks like the Titans are in fairly fair shape heading into the bye. What are your thoughts on the Titans where they sit right now?
Yeah, old Tom Brady did his boy a favor, right? Went out there and beat the Colts. That was something that definitely helped out. But you're right, man. This team is banged up like in the worst degree. And if you look at what they have on injured reserve, man, it's like a who's who, right? I mean, that team that they have stocked away on injured reserve, they very well may be able to go out and beat a couple teams. Logan Woodside, had to play the quarterback, being as though he's on COVID reserve. But, yeah, just the fact when you look at that game against the Patriots, it really comes down to one thing, and you know what it was. It was turnovers, and that's really something over these last 2 weeks. I mean, when you give the ball away 9 times and you take it away 0 times, you can't expect to win, even against the lowly Texans. So that's really what happened. Towards the end, though, there were some effort issues too. I mean, that Kendrick Bourne run, that one was bad. Catch and run, rather. And then later on, I think it was Damian Harris had a run where he broke like 3 tackles. And just at that point, I remember turning to who was next to me? Rexroyd, I think, was next to me. And I'm like, yeah, it's this thing's over. Like, you could tell. I don't want to say they checked out, but you could tell that game had pretty much ran its course.
Are you concerned about that? I mean, the effort issues. Like, look, when a game's over and you're heading into your bye week, I mean, things are what they are. TD, you covered the team a couple years ago when the Patriots came in here, and the Titans absolutely lit them on fire. And I'm sure the Patriots at the end of that game had kind of checked it in a little bit. But to your point, I mean, here's the thing that got me about the game, and I do agree that turnovers did them in, but Vrabel brought this up in his press conference the other day, field position. And he was like, they started on the 41 and the Titans started on the 27, and I think back to that first punt of the game where going into Foxborough with all the guys that you have hurt, we knew the game plan was going to be try to run the ball and try to minimize the game and don't give the Patriots anything, make the rookie quarterback earn it, and they give up 30 yards in field position because they can't get lined up on a punt. And I look at that and I'm like, even if Derrick Henry's healthy, if Chris Jones isn't lined up on the punt, they give up that return. It doesn't matter if Derrick's healthy or not. And those little things, and you brought up, the effort on the Bourne touchdown, those are the things that bothered me from the game, was things where it didn't matter that Julio Jones wasn't out there. Somebody got to make a tackle.
Yeah, and somebody does have to make a tackle, and unfortunately for them, it didn't happen. You make a great point about the field position, and I believe when you look at some of those turnovers, though, that also contributed to some bad field position. Take, for instance, Hilliard's first fumble. The Patriots took over on their 32-yard line. So, I mean, it's decent field positioning, but you're right, man, and the penalties they're piling up on special teams, and this is an area where when you don't have your guys at full power on offense and defense, special teams has to elevate itself and make up for it. And I think, they just have to figure out a way to get something in the return game, and that's a big-time thing. Like, it can't just be satisfactory for a guy to catch the punt. You know what I mean? Like, catch the punt and make something happen. And I'm not, coming at Chester Rogers because he has had a couple nice returns, but you know what? In a game like that, a big return can make a huge difference for an offense that really has struggled for the most part outside of running the football.
TD, I am not a box score scouter when it comes to watching the Titans games because that's the only game that I'm watching at that point in time.
Oh, my Twitter timeline lets me know that it's what you're watching.
Oh, I think everybody knows about the Jared Stillman meltdowns on Twitter. I don't even shy away from it. I'll
be like, put down the phone and get away from the bridge.
When I am watching the Titans, like a Titans game or like a big Predators game or something, like it honestly, I treat my Twitter as like you're watching the game with me. Yeah. So like you all now understand what my dad has had to live through for 32 years.
God bless him.
Oh, you thought it was bad. Try going for 2 in London and then having an 8-hour flight, like 5 hours after they ran a play for Taylor.
I'd have asked for a seat change.
Exactly. So Tannehill, The box score does not look good for Tannehill. Throwing under for 100 yards. He had the interception, but the ball had to come out on that interception anyways. So it's not like some of the other interceptions that were just terrible and bad decisions. I actually thought that for what I thought the Titans were trying to do, I thought Tannehill played okay on Sunday. I'm not sure you can ask much more of him given what was around him. And yet I felt, TD, and you would probably know this interacting with the fans more than I would, that there seemed to be a lot of angst surrounding Tannehill after this game in particular.
Yeah, there's a lot of angst just because of the statistics. But, I mean, you are very much correct, right? Used excellent context in regards to that interception. Now, granted, you don't want to turn the football over, but what do you want him to do, throw it away, right?
Right.
You know, and for me, my problem with that one was, well, the play calls, plural, but that one specifically, because it's like you're already in the low red zone. So the field is condensed already. And then booting him like that, it cut the field like in a quadrant, you know, and so it's tough, you know. And I get what he's trying to do, take advantage of Tannehill's legs. You had this slant on the backside that may have been open under different circumstances, but this Patriots defense is very disciplined. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot more to be desired with Ryan Tannehill, but I think we really have to look at just how much they need to be able to get back to what they did in previous years. And that rushing attack, I think, is really going to help. But at the same time, being so predictable, because at one point they ran the football on first down on it was like 13 out of 17 first downs. So when you do that, you get behind the chains at times, and guess what you can't do? Play action. Where is Ryan Tannehill at his best and most comfortable as a passer? Play action. So these are things that you have to shore up in order to get somewhat of a resemblance of that offense that they had the previous years.
TD, who do you think's coming back after the bye? Because that's the big thing of these injuries.
Yeah, I would say David Long and Evans, but that's just kind of like a shot in the dark because I really don't know who's coming. I believe Dupree will be back before the Steelers game. You know the Julio Jones situation. I could probably get into Fort Knox quicker than I could figure out, you know, what's up with him. So it's a tough call there.
And then any thought on AJ and Derek?
No.
I'll say the Titans are not going to tell anybody anything.
I'll say this. Reality. I know there are some extra things that Henry is doing to, you know, try to come back, but it's still like Sunday it'll be 5 weeks, right? And we really aren't going to have a clue until, like 6 weeks. So the one thing that is good, and there are things that you could do, you know, from a bone regeneration, if that's correct verbiage there, that can help that injury. And I think you have to continue to look at DeMarcus Lawrence and how he came 9 weeks. You know, he was back on the practice field, not in games, but on the practice field.
I think it's crazy. I tweeted this out, and you agreed with it on Sunday. I thought Vrabel's game plan was good on Sunday against the Patriots. I think that Vrabel basically said, I'm going to make the kid beat me, and I want to run the football. And the Titans ran the football. And Mac Jones, and Mac Jones is doing exactly what Belichick's coaching him to do, which
McDaniels.
I mean, it's all dinking, dunking. It's all screen passes. He took about 2 shots down the field. I thought the throw on the goal line, the one where I thought it was a great pre-snap, you know, great throw, great catch. Yes.
Yeah.
I thought that was the one just beautiful throw that he made that I thought, oh, my goodness gracious. Other than that, though, for the most part, I think that's the game Vrabel wanted to play. We took a call after the Saints game where somebody called in and said, Jared, I think you've got to give John Robinson and Mike Vrabel their due. And I said, breaking news, fans love the coach and GM after the team wins 6 in a row. And now I feel like people are down on Robinson and Vrabel because of the injuries and the depth and things of that magnitude. How would you assess Vrabel and Robinson right now as the way – you know, fans are going to be mad if they lose, and they're going to love them if they win?
Yeah, with Coach Vrabel, I think really, and I heard you mention it when you talked about leadership and some of the things. I think the way he's holding things together with this team, because, I mean, they're literally falling apart at the seams. And being able to hold them together and still have them competitive and find ways, I'm not going to say to get these guys going, but to find appropriate messages and focus points from week to week, I think is outstanding. And that's something that he doesn't really get a lot of credit for, but it is really good. And he is, wise from an X and O perspective, but I think just his people management skills are superb. And he does a really good job of making those emotional deposits, making people, even, people that cover the team even, they're like, okay, that's pretty cool that he remembers that I have daughters, or that's pretty cool that he remembers that I had a birthday or something like that. So his ability to connect with people is really good, and obviously the players themselves, that's something that's even stronger. So I think that really goes into being able to hold things together and not have everything fall apart and guys pointing fingers back and forth because, that defense, there were a couple times where they could really point fingers at the offense and vice versa, and they're not doing that. So I think that's remarkable. As far as John Robinson, he's done okay, and it's funny because I had it Saturday in Boston. I was talking to somebody on the phone, one of the national media people, and we literally had a back and forth for 30 minutes about John Robinson, and I was obviously saying that he has done a solid job. There are some black eyes, though. I think when you look at the high-profile things, right, first-round picks, he's had some, swing and misses, right? And some free agent acquisitions, the one that you love to look at, Clowney, that one was hindsight 2020 was a bad move. At the time when he made the move, I thought it was a good move because it seemed to fit what they needed. But I think what you really have to look at is you got to dig deep with John Robinson and not go on the surface. Look at guys like Kevin Byard, a third-round pick, Jayon Brown, a fifth-round pick. I'm smiling. I'm smiling. You know why? David Long, a day 3 pick. Amani Hooker, a day 3 pick. Like, those are the things that he's hitting on to offset some of these. Danico Autry, free agent signing. Those lower-key moves offset some of the high-profile ones that didn't work out. So I think overall, Robinson has done an excellent job because this franchise is the Tennessee Titans are relevant. Like, do you understand? The Titans are relevant. Mm-hmm. So I think being able to steer the ship and supply the ship with enough talent to be relevant again, I think that is an example of the job that he's done.
My thing on Robinson is this. He's been general manager for 6 years. They've had 6 winning seasons. Mm-hmm. He's, he's going to make the playoffs for the fourth time in the last 5 or third time or fourth time in the last 5 years. I mean, I know this. Growing up as a kid, I was spoiled. I was an Atlanta Braves fan. My team won the division every year. I was a Titans fan. They went to the Super Bowl in the first year. Floyd leaves as general manager, and they make the playoffs twice with his players, with Albert Hainsworth and Kyle Vandenbosch and Cortland Finnegan and Keith Bullock and all those guys. Then the Titans were crap for 10 years. I mean, bottom of the league. 2-14, 3-13. Robinson takes over. They haven't had a losing season since. I know it's simplistic to say because, look, some picks haven't been good. Some trades have been bad. Cap management might end up being a mess. I don't know. But I just think at the end of the day, to your point, TD, you got a relevant football team.
Yeah, exactly.
And you don't have 3-13.
And the other thing, real quick, having the gall, the audacity to make a move after going to the divisional round of the playoffs. I think that was a really bold but important move. And obviously I wasn't here under the previous coaching staff to know how it was in the building. But talking to people in the building once Coach Vrabel got there, and even I'm talking about early in the process, they said there was a different energy in the building. Mm-hmm. So having the foresight and the strength to make a move like that, and lo and behold, guess what they did? They elevated to the NFC Championship, or excuse me, AFC Championship. I'm thinking of my Eagles days. AFC Championship game in 2 years, and the following year they won the division. And this year they're in contention for the top seed. So I think that's another move that he made that was really outstanding that just kind of floats under the radar, but it needs to be mentioned. Also,
I was a big Malarkey guy. I thought Malarkey never got the due for it. But that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Did you see Antonio Brown suspended 3 games for violating the NFLPA's COVID protocols?
They should have given him more.
You wanted to give him a good whooping?
Throw the book at him.
Make an example out of him.
Lifetime. It's like a lifetime achievement award for AB. I mean,
He was among 3 players to misrepresent their vaccination status.
Ooh, do we have the other 2?
Negative. You have to. The next segment we'll have.
All right, here you go. TD's with us. We'll get your questions for TD at the end. 615-737-1025. Plus, I got a couple of numbers that may make you very optimistic if you're a Titan fan. What does TD think of them? We'll do that next. TD Power Hour. Stillman and Company. It's ESPN 1025 The Game.
It's game day in Smashville. Brought to you by Hermitage Design Center.
Sliding across to make the save is Saros. Drennan and the score.
The Preds seek back-to-back wins when they host the Bruins.
These guys are hungry. They want to do the right things, and you can see it.
Pre-game coverage begins tonight at 6 on Smashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Some people think fall is the best time of the year. It may also be a great time to consider getting vaccinated against COVID-19. Sponsored by BioNTech and Pfizer.
Do you really want to go through another year with that awful joint pain? Well, don't do it. Resolve right now to get yourself moving again for 2022. Willie Donick here. It's time to call the folks at QC Kinetics. Non-surgical regenerative treatments for joint pain. We're talking lasting results using natural biologics. No surgery, no pain meds, no steroids, and no downtime. This is really exciting stuff. Regenerative, restorative treatments that actually encourage your body to heal itself using highly concentrated natural biologics. Patients rave about it for hip pain relief, knee pain relief, shoulder and back pain relief. Don't let them give you the steroids. Don't let them tell you your surgery is the only option. Get a free second opinion at QC Kinetics and do it now. And imagine life in 2022 without pain. Call the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics. 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024 for QC Kinetics.
Attention Nice List recipients. The Mercedes-Benz winter event is here. Make this season your reason. Forget the halls, deck the garage. Hark, the turbo engines sing. Like hot cocoa in a blizzard, this opportunity won't last long. Hurry for these exclusive offers from Nashville's 2-time Best of the Best award-winning Mercedes-Benz of Music City. Just one exit from the airport. Go to mbofmc.com.
It's the 12 days of Christmas at Genesis Diamonds with the best gift ever. 5 years, 0 interest financing. That's right. For the first 12 days of December, you get the unbeatable Genesis value price, plus 0 interest financing for 5 years with nothing down. Shop early for Christmas and get that $5,000 pair of diamond stud earrings for just $84 a month. Or that $6,000 diamond eternity band, just $100 a month. Our showcases are stocked with the best holiday gifts. Rings, earrings, pendants, bands, colored gemstone jewelry, unique handcrafted one-of-a-kind gifts that are sure to be the headliner gift at your house this Christmas. And now through December 12th, everything's affordable with 5 years, 0 interest financing. How about splurging on a $10,000 tennis bracelet and paying just $167 a month? Don't miss this special finance offer now through December 12th. Merry Christmas from Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. On approved credit, see store for details.
I'm Dr. Baker, an ER physician. If you're having leg pain, swelling, or redness, but haven't talked to your doctor yet, don't wait. This could be deep vein thrombosis, a blood clot which could travel to your lungs and lead to a pulmonary embolism, which could cause chest pain or discomfort or difficulty breathing and be deadly. Your symptoms could mean something serious, so don't wait. Talk to a doctor right away, by phone, online, or in person.
Brought to you by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Calling all sweet tooths. Head to Nashville Toffee Company, a place where rich, chocolatey daydreams are created from a secret family recipe generations in the making. Their toffees and candies are handcrafted in Nashville using all natural, kosher-certified ingredients. Sweet creamery butter, pure cane sugar, premium roasted nuts, deep rich chocolate, and sea salt. Visit NashvilleToffeeCompany.com or drop by their headquarters on Air Lane Drive for a positively hassle-free shopping experience. Whether you're buying for 1 or 100, Nashville Toffee Company is here to make your holiday gift giving easy.
If you've missed any of today's show, Just search Stillman and Company on Apple, Spotify, or your favorite podcast platform.
TD Power Hour is presented by Craneworks and Rental Works and by FreedomTireGuys.com. Antonio Brown suspended 3 games. The other 2 names on the list, TD, I'm not sure we really care about.
Nope.
Mike Edwards
and John Franklin III.
Now, John Franklin, he tried to play quarterback, I think, at Auburn or Florida State or something.
He's been at Florida State, Auburn, and Florida Atlantic.
Yeah. So there you go. There is at least that. So an interesting nugget that I found, the New York Times playoff predictor, TD, I'm a big fan of it. Mm-hmm. And they, take out your heart or how your team is playing or whatever, and just, this is what the playoff machine says. The Titans' chances in order, because a lot of people, a lot of people think that, now there's no chance to get the number 1 seed, or now this is over, that's over. The New York Times playoff predictor says the Titans have a 98% chance to make the playoffs, a 96% chance to win the division, and a 24% chance of getting the number 1 seed. The Patriots are the only team with a higher chance of getting the number 1 seed at 27%. Should Titan fans hear that and be optimistic coming out of the bye week, or with the way they're playing and the injuries, should they be pessimistic?
Well, one thing to look at, 2 more dates with the Buffalo Bills. So that's a little cannibalism going on there, right? 2 teams that are right there are going to probably 1-1, but whatever. Somebody's going to win.
Doesn't New England draw the Colts in this next stretch too? Which, Colts. Jonathan Taylor could beat them.
You know what though? That rushing attack isn't. The rushing defense isn't that bad. It was just in that game. It seemed like Belichick wanted to take away the run or the pass rather. It was like, hey man, you gonna run the ball. Now that's not to say to take anything away from the effort that these guys had, but it just seemed like the focus more was on the pass.
No, I hear you. Why Bill couldn't get them to take, what the fact that Bill knew after 5 minutes to go in the second quarter that the Titans were going to try to run it on every play and the Patriots still didn't stop it. That was like what you doing, Bill?
Yeah. Oh, well, Davin Goshaw, he has said, or one of their defensive linemen, he said it's no secret when they tell you. And he was referring to the Titans having 4 tight ends on the active roster and 2 fullbacks. It kind of made it clear what they were going to do. But at the end of the day, I think that Patriots and Colts game is going to be a banger. That's going to be a good one to watch. But the main point where I think Titans fans should be optimistic is the fact that the teams that are also there in contention have pretty tough schedules. So that should actually help the Titans. But at the same time, they have to help themselves by getting healthy again, right? Mm-hmm. And they have to help themselves because here's another thing for you, right? Week 13, or excuse me, not week 13, 2 weeks ago, before the Texans game, they were plus 0.2 in takeaways, which was 14th in the league. After these last 2 games, Jarrett, they've dropped to 27th place in the league at minus 0.6 takeaways. So, or the turnover margin, excuse me. So they need to help themselves by getting back to that winning football that they had over that streak where there were 11 takeaways, 6-game win streak. They need to play football like they did in that Rams game. That's going to kind of be the formula for them.
You know what bothers me about looking at the Titans right now compared to where they were with the Chiefs and the Rams and when they were playing really, really well is I know that everybody, they got, next gen stat, winrate.com, whatever. They can do all that. And I look at it like this. The Pittsburgh Steelers were 11-0 last year when Bud Dupree was on that football team. They were 1-5 when Bud Dupree wasn't on the football team. You said, give Bud some time coming off of the knee injury. Bud said, hey, I rushed it back too fast. When Bud started to play like Bud, first series of the Kansas City game, 3rd down, strip sack of Patrick Mahomes. Bud was a beast in the Colts game. Bud was in Matthew Stafford's face in the Rams game. And then Bud got hurt.
Yeah.
And so I'm convinced that Bud Dupree makes a huge difference, even if he doesn't get the sacks or the pressures. But I think he's one of these guys that makes literally everybody. T.J. Watt was Defensive Player of the Year last year when Bud was on the field. And I just think when I hear all these injuries, yes, you got to get Henry back. And, yes, the defense has to get back to turning him over. But I think Bud is a big part of that.
He's a violent football player. And if you remember – when he first talked to us, I asked him about, influxing that dog mindset. And he said he wants 11 guys on the field that wants to take somebody's face off. So that's really, right there. Like, and granted, right, when you're at that level, like you're a grown man, you're getting paid, it shouldn't take another man to motivate you. But another man can throw gas on that fire that you already have to burn it, make it burn a little bit brighter. And I think when you look at Bud Dupree, as you mentioned so wisely, he may not get the pressures, may not get the sacks as much this year as he's gotten in the previous year, but watch him on those stunts and watch how, he helps other guys get open, whether it's Simmons looping around him or whoever it may be, right? And you look at that package that they had. Guess who was right there in the middle of that NASCAR package? It was Dupree, right? So I think you have to look at those things and understand that it does go beyond the box score, and that was a good job of you of pointing that out.
Well, and I also just look at, like, if you had a CEO of a company, or not even a CEO, if you had a salesman, a salesman at your company, salesperson, and you had the best revenue you ever had, and then the salesperson quit, and your revenues went 1 in 5 like the Steelers last year, and then he goes somewhere else and his team starts dominating. At some point, you got to think, man, this guy, there's something to do with this guy. You said that you think Bud should be back by that Steeler game. I think that's a big sign because it's easy to look at the Titans' schedule and say, according to ESPN's FPI, they have the easiest remaining schedule. But we saw what the Texans did to them 2 weeks ago.
Right.
And I have a hard time looking. Like, I thought San Francisco stunk all year long, and I still don't think San Francisco's all that good, but I think they're getting better. And I would worry about playing the 49ers right now the way the Titans are playing. The Dolphins look like they're getting
football
better.
Game.
And the schedule makes me nervous, TD, because under Vrabel, the Titans have lost some of these games.
Yeah, no, I get it. And, it's one of those opportunities for them to prove that they can, in fact, when it's time to beat a team they're supposed to beat, don't level down to them, right? That's what they did with the Texans, 5 turnovers. Hey, it's an equalizer. It's no secret why they lost that game. So I think that's really critical because even looking at that Texans game, the Texans didn't really get a lot of offense, and if you get 2 opportunities to take over inside the opponent's 10-yard line, like, you better score 20-something points. You know what I mean? So you look at the whole thing. They just, in a nutshell, can't play down to competition.
TD's with us, the TD Power Hour, presented by Freedom Tire Guys and Craneworks and Rental Works. FanDuel Sportsbook is my official sportsbook app. That's right. The NFL regular season is heading into the final month. Is that not crazy? Wow. And they are giving us a huge matchup tonight between the Cowboys and the Saints. And FanDuel is going to make it even bigger because FanDuel is giving new customers 30-1 odds on either team to win. That means you can win $150 on a $5 bet. So you can roll with the same game parlay, or you can hit the money line, the spread, touchdown score, anytime touchdown score, yards, receiving, passing, rushing, you name it. It is all there. It's so easy. Prop bets, love it. FanDuel is sports betting made simple, and they're always hooking you up with great offers. And I'm going to say this. I feel good about Dallas. Tonight, I feel pretty good about Dallas for you to make that bet. If you're already a FanDuel Sportsbook user, FanDuel's hooking up all customers with $50 when you refer a friend, plus your friend will get $50 too. See for yourself why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook app using the promo code JGM to win $150 on a $5 bet. That's promo code JGM. 21 and older and present in Tennessee. New users only. $10 first deposit required. Must wager in a designated offer market. Max bonus $150. Bonus for Tennessee users fulfilled in site credit within 72 hours. Tennessee site credit expires 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line 1-800-889-9789.
Hey, this is Roman Yossi, and this is Smashville.
Yossi from the circle. He scores! Roman Yossi scores in overtime!
You're listening to the flagship of the Nashville Predators radio network. ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Gary Ashton here. Most people in Nashville know me as the don't sell without the intel and the guaranteed offer guy. But despite my accent, I'm also 100% guaranteed Nashville. I'm a guaranteed musician, a guaranteed dog lover, and you're also guaranteed to see me at every Titans and Preds game. Guaranteed offer means the Gary Ashton team with RE/MAX Advantage will sell your house for top dollar with no cleaning, staging, showings, or open houses, and give you up to 90 days to close, so there's plenty of time to find your next home. Guaranteed Nashville means my team lives here and loves it here. We've served Nashville for over 20 years, and we're passionate about helping the people we call neighbors and friends, which is why we've had a long-standing tradition of donating to the Vanderbilt Children's Hospital. If you're thinking about a guaranteed offer, get the only one that's guaranteed Nashville. Request a no-obligation offer by calling 615-301-1650 or go to GaryAshton.com today. Remember, Gary Ashton, guaranteed Nashville.
It's Cyber Week at Electronic Express, but the deals aren't just online. We're bringing big savings on everything in the store. Get the hottest gifts like 4K TVs, computers and gaming, smart home, housewares, and more. That's not all. Upgrade your kitchen just in time for the holiday season with huge savings on all appliances. Plus, buy now, pay later with up to 36 months free financing. Get Cyber Monday prices all week long at Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Hey, this is Jared, the owner of MTGRT.com. Have you heard about those pesky appraisal gaps? We have too. That's why for our buyers, we create a custom appraisal gap analysis. You know what? A strong appraisal gap analysis from MTGRT.com helps prepare your offer for what could be. Let us help you make your dream home a reality. Text me on my cell today at 615-969-2257 or schedule time for us to talk online at MTGRT.com.
Fever is the leading symptom of COVID and the flu, and the only way to reliably detect it is with an accurate thermometer. Be vigilant and be accurate with the Exergen Temporal Scanner, whose accuracy has been proven in more than 100 clinical studies. Don't rely on non-contact thermometers. They are proven to be inaccurate and will not reliably detect a fever that might mean COVID. Be sure to seek medical advice at the first sign of fever. Learn more at Exergen.com.
This Sunday,
Hurts lofting downfield. Chris Watkins on alone. The big play the Eagles have been searching for.
Jalen Hurts and the Philadelphia Eagles look to stay in the NFC playoff picture when they visit the New York Jets.
Bring it on, Chuck.
Coverage begins at 11
on ESPN
102.5 The Game.
Hey, it's ESPN NFL analyst Tim Hasselbeck on Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
The TD Power Hour is presented by Freedom Tire Guys and Crane Works and Rental Works. We're live at Bridgestone Arena. Hey, Silly Underdog Picks brought to you by Volunteer Hose and Gasket. Pick 3 football underdog teams you think will win this week for a chance to win tickets to an upcoming sporting event or concert. Go to thegamenashville.com for more details. And to play Silly Underdog Picks brought to you by Volunteer Hose and Gasket. TD, the Patriots play the Bills. Titans are on the bye, which we all know. Patriots play the Bills. Both are contenders for the number 1 seed. There's the Ravens. There's the Chiefs. There's the Chargers. There might be the Broncos. How do you handicap the AFC right now, given the fact that it feels pretty good the Titans are going to win the South?
That is really tough because it's just, I mean, the Ravens are right there. But even the Ravens, you know, they're having struggles with poor starts. So they're a team that can be, you know, overtaken. So it's just, you know, the Ravens page. I think for me, the dark horse is the Chiefs because it's really interesting that despite how much it seemed like everything was over, they were falling apart earlier this year. They managed to weather the storm, and they are right there in the mix. And you know what happens if they get hot. You know. Mm-hmm. And I think that's something that you have to look at and consider. But then when you look at some of these teams that, you know, are a little bit lower in the standings, you know, the Broncos I don't think are a threat. The Raiders, the Chargers, those are teams that could definitely do some things. I mean, even the Steelers are in the mix. I don't think that they're really anybody to you know, be concerned about. But the team that I would be concerned about more than any other team as far as in that outside of the division winners is the Colts.
So I think the thing that gets me is I've always talked about the road to the playoffs or the road to the Super Bowl. And the Titans, by having lost the last 2 games, their road right now to the Super Bowl would be getting Buffalo in the first round and then probably drawing into drawing into New England and then drawing probably either Kansas City or Baltimore. I like the Titans. I don't feel very good about their chances of winning those 3 games in a row.
Those was 3 tough games, man.
And especially if 2 of them are on the road, which is why I feel like the number 1 seed is certainly, that's a big deal here. The other thing, though, to your point, every team that you just mentioned, I think the Titans could lose to. I think they lose to the Steelers. I think they lose to the Colts. I think they lose to the Chargers. I think they could lose to all of them. And so I try to look at it like, okay, what are the best matchups? And I want no part of Patrick Mahomes in Kansas City.
None. Because, again, I mean, they get hot. Like, when things start clicking with them, all they need really is for that defense to play some football. That's all they need, so they need the defense to play ball and the offensive line to play better. Because if you could get pressure, as the Titans showed, if you could get pressure with 4, drop 7, you got a chance. But if you can't do that, you're going to be in for a long day.
What do you make of the Ravens? Because the Ravens right now hold the number 1 seed in the AFC. I have seen a lot of Raven games on TV this year. Even when they win, I feel like that game against the Colts where the Colts were missing field goals and penalties and stuff. And I'm not trying to take away wins, but I mean, I don't Lamar. Yes, bad boy, maybe the league's most valuable player, although no one's talking about it. But that doesn't feel like a Ravens run game, and it doesn't feel like a Ravens defense, and it just. I look at their schedule, Packers and Rams, and I think they go again against Cleveland and the Steelers, and I'm like, I can't see the Ravens as the 1 seed in the AFC.
Well, I mean, one Rams or one of those teams beat them and is right back into a pretty much even race, And I think what you have to look at for the Titans and the top seed are some of the losses have been AFC losses, like conference losses. But, yeah, you're right. The Ravens, they're not the dominant team. Like, they're not going out and just whooping people's behinds. But guess what? They're finding a way to win games. And sometimes the ball just bounces your way, and that's what is happening for them. You look at Lamar with that scrambling back Tecmo Bowl style, 20 yards, and throwing the ball 40 yards down the field for like a 26-yard touchdown. Like, those things aren't supposed to happen. But it did, and that's, ended up being pretty much the difference in the game. So I get it. They're not blowing teams out, but they're still winning games.
So what we know about these teams and their schedules down the stretch, Patriots, according to New York Times, 27% chance to get the first round bye. Titans, 24%. Ravens, 20%. Chiefs, 10%. Bills, 9%. Bengals, 6%. Which of those teams do you think is most likely, in your opinion, to end up with the number 1 seed in the AFC?
Let me just take a peek at the Chiefs' schedule. Do you have that up, the Chiefs' schedule?
Let's see. Let me click on Chiefs and see what it gives me. It says
they have another one with the Chargers, right?
At the Chargers, yep.
At the Chargers.
Broncos, Raiders, Chargers, Steelers, Bengals, Broncos.
That's pretty tough. Man, that's a tough call. I want to say Patriots, but you got those 2 games against the Bills. I think all things remaining equal, I think the Titans have the best, the most clear path to winning it. I try. You heard you felt me trying to dance around that, but
yep.
I couldn't continue to do it. I think the Titans. You look at their schedule, and you look at as long as they start to get guys back. You look at that, I think they'll be all right.
I mean, I think the reality here is if the Titans can get David Long Jr. back. Now, we all know Derrick Henry's the most important of the group. I think it goes in this order. Henry, Dupree, Brown, Long Jr., Julio Jones, in terms of importance to get back. But if they can get David Long Jr. back and one of the pass catchers back at some point here, I think I like my chances with their schedule the rest of the way. Like San Francisco is a team that's coming on, and you're talking about them playing physical and things. But If I've got David Long Jr. with those defensive tackles, I think I can stop San Francisco on the run, and I can make Garoppolo have to beat me. And it's a Thursday night football game, and they've got to travel across the country to go to Nissan Stadium, which I think if they can get David Long and one of the pass catchers back, I think they should take care of most of their schedule the rest of the way. And I think they probably I don't want to put unfair expectations on the Titans, but I kind of feel like they should be the number 1 seed, TD.
Right. The thing is, this is what the league wanted, right? They wanted this parity, this balance. They're getting it.
Yep.
I still do think, understanding that on any, game day, a team can beat another team, I think the Titans have the best shot just because of the probabilities of beating the teams that they have remaining on the schedule, as opposed to Buffalo, as opposed to the Patriots, as opposed to the Ravens, as opposed to the Chiefs. I think it works in their advantage.
TD Power Hour. We'll get to your questions for TD next. 615-737-1025. We'll write to your text on the TD Power Hour. Go to theGameNashville.com/deals to check out Nashville's best deals. Deals include half-off gift cards for these great locations like the Nashville Armory, Brooklyn Bowl, Nashville, the Beanbag Coffee and Tea Shop, 312 Pizza Company in Germantown, Fat Cat Slims in the Gulch. Get your deal now at theGameNashville.com/deals.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 News Code Red meteorologist Dan Guthrie. More sunshine this afternoon, highs upper 60s and lower 70s. We'll do it again on Friday with storms returning this weekend and next week.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Some people think fall is the best time of the year. It may also be a great time to consider getting vaccinated against COVID-19. Sponsored by BioNTech and Pfizer.
Winter's a bad time for your furnace to go out, but it's never a bad time to call Lee Company. Our heating and air conditioning pros are available 24/7. No heat? Don't wait. Call Lee Company now at 615-567-1000. Our expert technicians will diagnose the issue and fix it right the first time. When you're cold, you need someone you can count on to bring the heat. Call Lee Company now at 615-567-1000 or visit leecompany.com.
Treating erectile dysfunction with acoustic wave therapy has been getting a lot of attention lately. But you should know that some are promising results we just haven't seen and charging a lot of money for the treatments as well. This is Kim for the Tennessee Men's Clinic, and if you're looking at acoustic wave therapy or any option to help your ED, you really should call us first. Unlike wave therapy-only clinics, the Tennessee Men's Clinic wave therapy protocols do use acoustic wave technology, but we also often combine it with other treatments that can give most of our patients far higher satisfaction rates. There is no surgery nor any type of invasive procedure required. And even better, depending on your treatment strategy and with our urologist and provider's guidance, you can likely have sex the day after your appointment. We even have other treatments that can help you last up to an hour. Plus, for a limited time, we're waiving our normal appointment charge, which includes a PSA and T test, and offering a free ultrasound, altogether nearly a $400 value for free. So make an appointment today. Call 615-208-9090 or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Visit our website to learn more, including side effects, treatments, extra results vary.
Paul Feinbaum here for the Southeast leader for cranes and equipment rental, CraneWorks. The CraneWorks team in Nashville, Birmingham, and Mobile is ready to make your next construction or maintenance project a big success. Give CraneWorks a call for your next lift, machinery moving, or rigging project. And don't forget, RentalWorks has a full line of rental equipment for jobs both big and small, and now offering qualified operators for all equipment, including aerial and earth-moving equipment. Call CraneWorks at 877-282-LIFT or visit them on the web at craneworks.com.
Yo, this is Justin from Music City Vintage, here to provide you with all your vintage apparel and shoe needs. We've partnered with 102.5 The Game to provide you all with an exclusive discount today. Come to our shop today, located in East Nashville at 2503 Gallatin Avenue, and say The Game at checkout and get 10% off your entire order. If you're unable to make it in, we got something for you as well. All of our products in store are also available on our website at musiccityvtg.com. Just use promo code GAME at checkout and get 10% off your order.
From city streets to back roads, from road warrior to carpooler, there are some things you can always count on, like the reliability, durability, and power of DieHard, America's most trusted auto battery. No matter where your journey takes you, count on Die Hard to get you started on the road ahead. Available at your local Advance Auto Parts and participating CarQuest stores.
Robbie Stanley.
Coming in off the water.
Yeah.
Coming in there to tailgate.
Joe Rex Road.
That was fun.
Get your morning started with Robbie and Rex Road every weekday from 6 to 10. Presented by Volunteer State Bank on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
You're listening to Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving.
Stillman and Company, we're live from Bridgestone Arena, ESPN 102.5 The Game, TD Power Hour, powered by Freedom Tire Works and FreedomTireGuys.com and Craneworks and Rental Works. Got a little confused over up in here, but no more talking from me. Everybody wants to talk to TD, so we'll go right to your phones, which are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
Ron texts in and says, in your opinion, TD, do you think the Titans will be more healthy on defense or on offense after the bye?
Yeah, it's tough to really point to either side because there's so many guys out. I can't really answer that one, honestly. I'm sorry, Ron. I can't give you an answer to that.
Another texter says, who will the Titans lean on more in the next couple of games after the bye?
I believe that they will lean more on that rushing attack offensively. Dontrell Hilliard and Deontay Foreman. I think those are going to be the guys, and more importantly, on the offensive line. And quietly, Aaron Brewer is balling. Get that big man some little big man some love. He's like 270. He's still holding his own there.
So I got to be honest with you about the running game. I love the way they ran the ball the other day, and maybe you're right. Belichick wasn't worried about the run. I think both guys are decent runners, but Hilliard, 2 games, fumbled the football, and TD, what was Foreman doing on that fumble? The Patriots are great at knocking it out, but, you got to protect that baby now.
Yeah, it's basic. You switch from the outside hand, the inside hand to the outside hand. J.C. Jackson, I believe it was, just made a good play, and he caught him slipping, and that's what Foreman said. That's exactly what happened.
Canadian Titan texts in and says, which non-skill position Titan do you think would make the best running back, wide receiver, and tight end? He says, example, Caleb Farley as a wide receiver.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, so kind of like flipping it around. This is easy for me, and I'm going with Julio Jones at defense, at DB, period. Now, when the Falcons were always up and they needed, prevent defense, Julio Jones would be in the back. But I challenge anyone that wants to see some hard hits to just YouTube Julio Jones hits. That dude brings the wood, man, after interceptions. And that's the way a receiver's supposed to be. You took my football, I'm going to take your heart. And that's what he's done a couple times.
Can I just say one thing that bothers me about Julio? It's just when people are like, now, if the Titans had Derrick Henry, A.J. Brown, and Julio Jones out there, it'd be – and I'm like, A.J. and Derrick, yes. Julio's got to earn some stripes around here. He gets thrown in the great player bin, and he has not been a great player for the Titans yet. He's got to earn the stripes a little bit. That's all I'm saying.
But that's at least another defender that's off of A.J. or off of whoever is catching passes.
Yeah, it balances out the passing game.
Jared doesn't like that very much.
I just do more for the Titans. What's next?
Another texter texts in and says, my prediction is 11-6, no Super Bowl. No Super Bowl until you get rid of Tannehill. TD, your thoughts?
I don't think they're losing games exactly because of him. And we had this conversation a couple weeks ago about the 4 interceptions. How 3 of them truly weren't on him. But I think it's kind of tough to say no Super Bowl with him. I think that they could win or get to the Super Bowl. You never know what happens once you get there. But I think that they could do that with him at quarterback. You got to have the other stuff in place and working.
I think it's like we were talking about off the air the other day with Ed Orgeron. You get him the best offensive coordinator, best defensive quarterback, or best defensive coordinator, best quarterback, best wide receivers, best defense, best everything. Ed Orgeron can win a national championship. You rely on Ed Orgeron every week to out-coach Nick Saban, you ain't going to win a lot of games. So I think that's kind of how I decided I feel about Tannehill. You get him the best everything, he can win for you. But if you're going to sit there and say, okay, Tannehill, go carry the team, I don't see that being his forte.
Gator Tim texts in response about Bud Dupree being injured and his impact coming back, says Steelers gave up 20 points per game with Dupree, 22 points per game without Bud Dupree. I've been trying to tell you all year how overrated Bud Dupree is.
Been trying to tell me?
I think just the show in general. There's no question there. But your
no,
thoughts
trying to
towards
tell
Dupree.
me is clearly where this is going.
I believe so, probably.
The thing now, he said that they gave up 2 more points, right?
Mm-hmm.
Two more
points without Dupree.
Yeah, that's basically a 10% increase. It's not anything to shake your head at. I think again, it goes beyond. You got to watch and just see how other players they are with Dupree. And in Pittsburgh, it wasn't just T.J. Watt, right? It was Cam Hayward. It was Stephon Tuitt. They are running stunts and doing those things, and as a group, they were just better, and that's the same thing that could be said for the Titans. And
I just look at it like this, too. To your point, TD, right there, this time last year, everybody was talking about, oh, my God, T.J. Watt, oh, my God, Stephon Tuitt, oh, my God, Cam Hayward. When Bud Dupree was healthy for a 3-week period, we were all saying, oh, my God, Jeffrey Simmons, oh, my God, Harold Landry, oh, my God, Danico Autry. Now, all those players are good, right? T.J. Watt's good, Hayward's good, Tuitt's good, Autry's good, Simmons is good, Landry's good.
Long story short, it's not a coincidence.
No.
Next question.
We're not sitting here after the Patriot game saying, oh, my God, Autry and Landry, and I'm just saying that. Go ahead.
Caleb texts in and says, do you think Golden Tate will help, or is he just past his prime and he'll get released in 3 weeks?
I don't know that he'll be released in 3 weeks, but I think, look, he's not the same player. He's not the same, but he still could get you those free yards, right? He's a guy that you could throw the ball to 2-yard pass, and he could break a tackle and get you 15 more. He's not the same guy that used to be able to get you 60 more, but he could still get you more. And those free yards, they do add up, so I think he can help.
Do you think it was just too little time to get him prepared for the Patriots?
Well, yeah, that's what they said. I mean, and look at – so he came in, right? He had – what was it, a Monday he came in, and then they had the walkthrough on Wednesday. Not even a walkthrough. It was no helmets on, baseball caps and jerseys, and they're doing conditioning. And then Thanksgiving, and then Friday. That was – yeah, it's – you don't want to put a guy out there and have him have everything spinning. Even though he is a veteran, you don't want to have everything spinning and him not playing at full speed and full awareness and to go out and get hurt. That's not kosher.
Another texter texts in and says, how much of a hit is it for the Titans with Monty Rice now on IR?
I think it's a hit on special teams and at the linebacker position, but it could quickly be offset if David Long could come back.
A lot of things can be offset if David Long comes back.
You ain't lying. I'll smile a lot more. I smile a lot anyway, but yeah, you ain't lying. So I think it's a hit, but Cole, what's his name? Dylan Cole. Dylan Cole has made some plays on special teams, but dadgummit.
Oh, he could have made a big one the other day.
He could have made a big one.
Here's my thing.
It hit him in the bad spot, right in the hands.
Here's my thing. I'm not one, it's easy to go, oh yeah, hey, remember my take 8 months ago? Look at the scoreboard. My team won that one game. Do you feel, and this is totally on you, TD, I'm not fishing for an answer here. Do you feel my draft night freakouts were now justified based upon what they've gotten out of the Titans draft class?
I mean, it was justified just because of the laughs I got out of it. You forget what they got, what I got out of it. But, I mean, this draft class, I never really graded after 1 year. We haven't even finished the year. But, Dylan Radin's inactive so many times. I get hindsight 2020 even, and foresight. Yeah, I get it. It was worth it. I'll say it.
I mean, Dylan
but
Radin could have been
Molden,
Bruce Matthews.
Elijah Molden.
And he could have been Bruce Matthews, and I would have known. But just because I had never heard of the guy, I was like, what? And then the Monty Rice pick, that one was really just
that one set you over the edge.
That was Chris and TD's fault. That was them setting me up.
Remember what I said earlier about throwing gas on the fire?
Oh, yeah, you guys.
I present example A.
you guys, exactly. Talking with TD is out. Take a listen. So what are we doing on the bye week for the Talking with TD podcast?
You got double trouble. Chris Sanders, Forever Titans receiver, we had 2 segments. We went over looking back at the draft, looking back at the free agent acquisitions, and he just gave his input on that. And then we looked at the rushing attack going forward And then I just looked at Kenny Vaccaro. Shout out Kenny Vaccaro. He didn't exactly retire, but he stepped away from the game and changed his focus to Gamers First, the esports G1 organization. So I got into that a little bit, and then also talked about the injury situation and how it's really tough to blame the training staff on it. And I used some things that I got when I met with the guys, Adam Bobo at Arete Training right in Nashville. And there's an article up there on ESPN.com. I'll plug that as well. And, yeah, man, that's what we got this week.
There you go. TD tomorrow on the morning show. No TD on Sunday because there's no pregame show. TD, appreciate you. We will talk soon.
For sure. Appreciate you.
Yep, Teron Davenport, presented by FreedomTireGuys.com and Craneworks and RentalWorks. Coming up next, this is going to sound dramatic, but I do think this is a matter of a life or death.
Oh, boy.
And nobody's talking about it. Well, I shouldn't say nobody's talking about it. We haven't talked about it yet. But I think it's a matter of life and death. And I don't even think you know what I'm talking about.
I think I do.
Ian, do you think you know what I'm talking about?
I don't think so.
Okay, do you know what I'm talking about, Ladarius? He doesn't know. So we'll get to that coming up next. Plus, Crispy in 30 minutes. And the Predators' new Stadium Series jerseys will be dropping, so we've got that as well. Stillman & Company, let me tell you about Invigorate Health. They are the exclusive Middle Tennessee providers of semaglutide. What is semaglutide? A lot of people for years have tried to lose weight. You try to cut your calories. You try to exercise more, but for some reason you just can't lose the weight. And New Year's Day is approaching, and that means New Year's resolutions, and that means you want to lose weight. Well, semaglutide is the breakthrough. That's right. The breakthrough in weight management. Men's Health Magazine, November of 2021 says this is the breakthrough for weight loss and weight loss related issues. That's right. Semaglutide has been prescribed for years to diabetics. It is now available to people like you and me, only available at Invigorate Health, online at Invigorate.com. I have talked to my best friend who's an internist that says semaglutide is safe. My primary care doctor says semaglutide is safe. Go ahead and talk at Invigorate Health. Talk to them. The people at Invigorate Health are on semaglutide, and they swear by it. That's Invigorate Health, online at InvigorateHealthTN.com.
1025 The Game and Cromwell Media are teaming up with Souls for Souls this holiday season for Souls for Music City.
Thank you to everyone who's helping us.
Every $20 donation equals a brand new pair of athletic shoes for a local child experiencing homelessness in Middle Tennessee.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Log on to thegamenashville.com/shoes to learn more on how you can help bring a smile to a child's face at a time of need. Souls for Music City is brought to you by Newton Motor Group.
Thank you so much.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
It's the 12 days of Christmas at Genesis Diamonds with the best gift ever, 5 years, 0 interest financing. That's right. For the first 12 days of December, you get the unbeatable Genesis value price, plus 0 interest financing for 5 years with nothing down. So you can splurge on a new diamond. Why not upgrade her from a 1 carat to a 2 carat? With this offer, you can get a $12,000 designer engagement ring for just $200 a month. All Genesis GIA certified diamonds are included. So if you're celebrating a lifetime of love, or just starting out, you can get the ring of her dreams and spread your payments over 5 years with 0 interest. Diamond earrings, diamond pendants, diamond bands, and bracelets are also included. But you need to shop early. This finance offer is going on now through December 12th only at Genesis Diamonds. Merry Christmas from Genesis Diamonds. Green Hills and Cool Springs. On approved credit, see store for details.
Lift it, load it, grade it, grind it, move it, haul it, rig it, dig it, Craneworks, RentalWorks, yeah! The big dog's got it.
Craneworks, the Southeast leader for crane and equipment rental, is looking for the best in the business to fill positions as qualified operators, truck drivers, and mechanics. Craneworks provides superior customer service and a superior work environment. Start lifting Nashville to new heights and apply today at craneworks.com/careers. That's craneworks.com/careers.
Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey is the official whiskey of the NFL pregame broadcast on ESPN 1025 The Game. Screwball is the original and most awarded peanut butter whiskey in the world. Made with real whiskey, peanuts, and peanut butter, Screwball is all natural flavor to be enjoyed as a straight shot, in an espresso martini, peanut butter old fashioned, or a PB&J shot with a berry liqueur. Check out screwballwhiskey.com/recipes for more. Be sure and ask for Screwball by name at your favorite watering hole in Nashville.
Enjoy responsibly. 2021 Screwball Spirits LLC, San Diego, California. Whiskey with natural flavors, 35% alcohol by volume.
The SiriusXM Listen Free event is on now through December 6th. Enjoy over 100 channels free on the radio in your car, including ESPNU Radio, Fantasy Sports Radio, Mad Dog Radio, ad-free music of every kind, plus incredible entertainment. Hear even more free on the SiriusXM app, including channels dedicated to the ACC, Big 10, Big 12, Pac-12, and SEC. We've already turned it on in your car, so press the button and enjoy.
Nashville's best sports talk, locally owned, home of our Nashville Predators. WPRT-FM Pegram, 97.5 Murfreesboro, WBUZ HD2 Laverne, online at thegamenashville.com. We are
ESPN
1025 The Game. Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving. TriStar Movers with 5-star service. With Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving. ESPN 1025 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda Gentry. 1025 The Game's Preds broadcast brought to you by Hermitage Design Center, the professional source for lighting, hardware, appliance, custom kitchens, and baths. On the web at gohermitage.com. Crispy in 25 minutes. The Predators, meanwhile, are unveiling their new Stadium Series uniform. And I'll just say this, I have gotten a sneak peek at it, and there's some things I like about it. So I'll just say that. Now, I teased this on the other side. In fact, the Predators Twitter, go to it right now if you want to see what that Stadium Series uniform looks like from a very memorable figure of the organization. Now, I saw this on Twitter the other day, and I was off yesterday, and I'm like, I think this is kind of a big deal. Now, I don't know how much talking this is going to get amongst fans, and it's not the same as complaining about Ryan Tannehill turning the football over. But Phil Williams, News Channel 5. Now, if anybody ever said, hey, Phil Williams is investigating you, I want you to know that I plan to pack up and you will never see me again before I answer questions from Phil Williams. And I say this as somebody who likes Phil Williams, but I understand, look, Phil Williams, when Phil Williams comes calling, you better get your ducks in a row. Phil Williams, News Channel 5. The U.S. Army's 101st Airborne Division has joined the FAA in investigating whether 4 helicopter pilots violated safety rules with a dramatic flight through Nissan Stadium right before the November 14th Saints-Titans game. The news comes a day after the FAA said the incident was the subject of its own pending investigation. The 101st Airborne Division is conducting a commander's inquiry into the event. Division spokesman Lieutenant Colonel Kerry McElwain said in an email that News Channel 5 investigates. Another person told the Army Times that the 101st Airborne Division's commanding general, Major General Joseph McGee, ordered the preliminary inquiry. Basically, according to this, the helicopters flew like inside the 300 level at Nissan Stadium before the Titans and the Saints game. Now, there is a big issue about whether or not there was some cord that was in the way. The Titans are saying, and I have talked to the Titans about this, the Titans are saying that that is an optical illusion and that the line is at the bottom of the club level. So there was no possibility of a helicopter getting its propeller caught in some sort of cable because if the helicopter gets its propeller caught in the cable,
it's way too low.
Well, not only is it way too low, what happens to the helicopter?
It goes.
And then what happens to the field?
And then what happens
and then what
to
happens
the people?
To all the people.
I mean, I'm not really worried about the grass. I think the grass will be fine.
Right.
But like the
what
people.
What happens to the people on the field?
They are no longer going to be
okay,
with us.
And what happens to
I think we all know what happens. It's a really bad scenario.
Okay. Like this should be talked about, right? Like, I'm sorry, as somebody who goes to games, like, you know me, I don't hate the flyover because
you hate the flyover.
I just think it's dumb.
Oh, I mean, like, It's just one of those things that's like.
So I don't hate the flyover. I don't hate the fact that a plane,
Do you hate America?
I love America. You can't love America more than me. You can love it the same, but you can't love it more.
Okay, noted.
I don't mind like before the game kicks off when it's like, and the home of the. I don't have a problem with that. But I also I think my issue is more so with the people that are like, yeah!
Why do you care? Will you just let them have their thing?
Because it's like $200,000 for the pomp and circumstance of some guy in front
You're
of me.
not paying for it.
Oh, but
why do you care?
You want to know what? Taxpayers. You want to know why I care about it now? Because if they're flying too low, it might get me killed. And I am not here for that, people. Like this, I'll tell you, as a fan, I'm kind of like, we need to get to the bottom of this. I feel like most fans don't care, honestly.
Well, if somebody had gotten hurt, people would care. But nobody got hurt, so nobody cares.
Titans and Saints games are canceled after the helicopter hit a cable and
after
fell down
Jared
the
Stillman is the only fatality in Nissan Stadium.
Oh, God, that would drive me insane.
Sure it would.
I just, how big of a deal is this? I mean, in all seriousness, I'm reading the Phil Williams thing. The review will likely focus on whether the Army pilots violated FAA authorization and their own assigned mission when they dropped their choppers below the highest levels of Nissan Stadium. Generally, military flyovers are required to be conducted 1,000 feet above the highest structure. Helicopters are given some leeway, provided each person operating the helicopter complies with any routes and altitudes specifically prescribed for helicopters by the FAA.
I mean, if the pilot just explained themselves and said, "Hey, we saw it looked like a cable, so that's why we went little bit lower," I mean that makes sense to me. I'm not a pilot. I've never flown an airplane. I don't think that comes as a shock to anyone.
I'm not asking for your breakdown of this. I'm asking whether or not people should be concerned about this.
No. Because the pilot explained it, and it wasn't just like this weird fluke thing that nobody could get to the bottom of it. Why was this helicopter flying so low?
Oh, no, I think this is an issue.
Why?
Well, the Titans said that cable's not real. They said that's an optical illusion.
Well, then I think it's an issue for the Titans, yes. I think
No. I think this is an issue for, the Army. This is why it's general, major, colonel, general inquiry. That's some court-martialable stuff right there. That's what that is you launch that inquiry, and then it's essentially like a military trial. And then they court-martial you or not. And I think that's – but I think the bigger issue is for the fans to know that they can be safe when they go to the stadium. I mean, I get it. I really don't get it, but I understand. I don't understand why people love these flyovers so much, but I understand that they do love these flyovers so much.
Let people enjoy what they like.
You don't get me killed. Don't get me killed. And see, this is what you're doing. This is like the Tannehill interceptions, where I'm getting mad against the Colts because Tannehill throws the ball in the middle of the field. And I'm like, I know it was incomplete, but if that's a better team and he keeps making that decision, that's going to be a problem. And then Tannehill throws 4 picks in a game, and everybody's like, Tannehill sucks. I'm like, we've been telling you this for 6 weeks. As a fan going to the game, if I'm going to be sitting there and I'm going to be sitting in my seats, I don't need the Johnny Colonel Major go for it, dropping below the stadium and almost bringing the flyover in. I actually, honestly, I want to hear what the Army has to say about the inquiry. But I think the Titans, this is just me, I think the Titans need to get on top of this, and they need to go to the 101st Airborne, and they need to go to the military, and they need to say, no more helicopters, no more nothing. Just get it above the stadium, get it 1,000 feet above, and keep it away from everybody, because we're talking about the most tragic thing that would ever possibly happen in the history of the NFL if that were to happen at a game.
I would agree with you that I do think that the Titans need to take action and say, okay, what is the illusion here? What did the pilots see? How can we avoid this? What can we do to ensure that any future flyovers, that everyone in the stadium is safe? Because I think safety absolutely comes above everything.
Do you think the Titans owe us an explanation? Long story short, say, hey, we talked to the Army, we talked to the Colonel, we talked to the General, we talked to all of them. Here's what has happened, and here's what our plan is going forward. Because it's not really the Titans. It is the Titans' problem if something bad happens, but it's not really the Titans are not piloting these helicopters, and the Titans are not directing the people who pilot the helicopters.
I mean, if the Titans feel like that is what would put Titan fans or people who come to Nissan Stadium, if that would put them at ease, then yeah, I think the Titans should say, hey, we understand that this was brought up. We understand that it was possibly a safety violation that could put people at harm. So we want to make sure that you all know that we've looked into it. We've done everything we could possibly do to avoid that in the future. I think that, yeah, just to put everyone's mind at ease, maybe just your mind at ease because you seem to be really worked up about it. I personally don't think it's that big of a deal. I think it was what the pilot saw that, did.
Helicopter flying below the top of the stadium.
Yeah, it's scary.
Dude, I don't
think that I need like a full explanation of it.
Somebody just texted the text line and said Jared is seeming very communist spy right now. Why? Because I'm not like, look at that F-85 bomber jet. Yeah, America. All right, what are we, first down? Okay,
I think there's a difference between being like, woo, and being like, Flover sucks.
Okay, so this is me at the game, right? So if you're watching the stream, you can see me standing up. And I literally am like, usually I'm like hands in front. I'm not like a hand over heart guy. Sometimes I am, sometimes I'm not, whatever. Hands in front, and it's like, in the home of the brave. And I just kind of look at it like, okay. And everybody around me, they're taking out their phones, and they're like, oh, my God, yeah!
Because it's cool. I mean, I'm not taking my pants off over the flyover,
like,
but
fly a Delta plane over. I'm like, whatever, it's the same. It's a plane. Hey, great. We got bombers. Way to go. We're only the most powerful country in the world. I mean, come on.
I mean, like, I don't understand why you're so butthurt over this.
I'm not. Now, why am I worked up about the helicopter flying inside the stadium?
I understand the safety concern about the helicopter flying lower than it should. I understand that. It is an issue, and they're looking into it. We got an explanation. If this was something where, like, the helicopter was really low and nobody could figure out what was going on and the pilot went, MIA, a little bit concerned about that. But like this, like we understand the story behind it. They're looking into it. I'm sure the Titans and Nissan.
We don't understand the story behind it.
I mean, they explained, okay, we thought we saw something there and it wasn't.
You and I have no idea what, like, that's why they're launching like an inquiry and like the FAA and the Army, and we are not qualified to know what that
They're doing what they
means.
need to do. And if fishy things start to arise, then sure, that'll be a little bit more concerned about it. I think that you need to be a little bit less concerned about people getting excited about a jet flying over a football game. I mean, that's cool.
I'm going to take Johnson's call because I'm in a good mood. Phone line's driven by WilsonCountyHunter.com. Go ahead, Johnson. Johnson, go. Johnson.
Hello.
Go ahead.
Who's this?
Jared, you're on the air.
It's Johnson.
Johnson, give me your take.
I can't hear you.
Never mind. Appreciate that. Thank you for your call.
I was waiting to get on. I was waiting.
I'm sorry.
Oh, you didn't even give him a shot.
I gave him like 7 shots. What are we talking about? I mean, I was in a good mood to take a just snort on the air.
No.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't.
You just like
no, I didn't.
Crocodile,
no.
like right. Stillman and Company's delivered by TriStar Moving. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. Maybe we'll take some calls on this. Maybe we'll get to a Predators take. I want to get out there.
A matter of life or death.
It is. Fly the helicopter into the stadium, see what happens. 615-737-1025. Stillman and Company. They show that loves America as much as any other show can possibly love America.
But we just don't like jets.
You can't love it more than we love it. You can love it the same, but you can't love it more. 615-737-1025. It's ESPN 1025 The Game.
It's game day in Smashville. Brought to you by Hermitage Design Center.
Running across to make the save is Saros. Drennan and the score.
The Preds seek back-to-back wins when they host the Bruins.
These guys are hungry. They want to do the right things, and you can see it.
Pre-game coverage begins tonight at 6 on Smashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Some people think fall is the best time of the year. It may also be a great time to consider getting vaccinated against COVID-19. Sponsored by BioNTech and Pfizer.
Attention nice list recipients. The Mercedes-Benz winter event is here. Make this season your reason. Forget the halls, deck the garage. Hark, the turbo engines sing. Like hot cocoa in a blizzard, this opportunity won't last long. Hurry for these exclusive offers from Nashville's two-time Best of the Best award-winning Mercedes-Benz of Music City. Just one exit from the airport. Go to mbofmc.com.
Your home value is way up. Why not use it to make your home even nicer with a new kitchen or bathroom? Hey, Willie here. So many of our listeners are doing this with Loan Pronto, thanks to their zero-cost cash-out refi program. Call Loan Pronto now. They're fast-tracking home refis for the year-end, and people are getting checks for 60, 70, 100 grand or more. It's fast and easy. It's your money, money you can use to add even more value to your home. Imagine 2022 with that all-new luxurious kitchen you've been dreaming about, or start building that pool so it's going to be ready for the summer. Call Loan Pronto now. See how easy it is to use the equity in your home and walk away with the big check. They can even pay your closing costs, and you can skip your next 2 house payments. Call 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. That's 615-499-5780 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 1661781. Subject to lender approval. Not all loans apply.
Hi, I'm Emmitt Smith, Pro Football Hall of Famer and 3-time champion.
Pro Football's all-time leading rusher Emmitt Smith talks about joint pain.
Trust me, I know about joint pain. Sure, I made it look easy, but if my body could speak, it would say, I'm in pain.
Are you living with chronic joint pain? Knees, hips, lower back, shoulders? Don't just assume the old treatments are the only treatments.
I've gone under the knife to get rid of pain, but now there are options, and you need to check them out.
Emmitt's talking about QC Kinetics, exciting new natural biologic therapies that can repair and restore damaged tissue in your joints. New options now available here.
You can encourage your body to actually heal itself with the help of QC Kinetics.
Real relief with no surgery, no drugs, no downtime. Call the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics for regenerative restorative treatments with lasting relief.
But now, you and I, we have help. QC Kinetics.
Call QC Kinetics, 615-249-4024. That's 615-249-4024. QC Kinetics, 249-4024.
Hey, how's it going?
Great.
This game's gonna be good.
Definitely.
Loser buys?
Sure.
Hey, 2 Dos Equis on this guy.
The game hasn't even started.
And yet, somehow it's already over.
Okay.
A dose of certainty. Brought to you by Dos Equis, proud sponsor of college football. Get a dose. Enjoy Dos Equis responsibly. Copyright 2021. Imported by Cervezas Mexicanas, White Plains, New York.
Yo, this is Justin from Music City Vintage. We're here to provide you with all your vintage apparel needs. Tons of great shoes and memorabilia from your past. We're located in the heart of East Nashville at 2503 Gallatin Avenue, where we do buy, sell, and trade. Got some clothes your stepdad gave you in the 90s? Found some dope clothes in your granddad's closet? Bring it by, we'll give you a cash offer. Found some at a thrift store and don't know where to sell it? Bring it by, we'll give you a cash offer. Got some new Jordans that don't quite fit well? Bring it by and we'll give you a cash offer. Music City Vintage, here to provide you with all your vintage and shoe needs. See y'all soon, Nashville.
Interact with Stillman and Company. Call or text the show at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com.
Stillman and Company live at Bridgestone Arena. Let's roll through calls since, might as well. We're phone line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Again, Phil Williams, News Channel 5 investigates that the helicopter was flying lower than the highest seat at Nissan Stadium when the Titans took on the Saints. The FAA and the Army, I think, have launched an inquiry, and I understand that people love the flyovers. I don't. It's kind of like that website Grantland that ESPN used to have.
Yeah.
I understood that people liked it. I didn't. But, come on now. So we'll roll through your calls because we got Crispy coming up. So Dave is going to kick us off here, apparently on the military. Thank you for calling. Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, 2 points. One, the Army is not connected to the Titans. So if the helicopter had crashed into the stadium, the Titans would not need to apologize. Second point.
I'd say that becomes the Titans' problem.
They would not be apologizing. The second point is that, you have no idea, apparently, how risk-averse the military is. Like, every possible risk in that situation gets analyzed and then mitigated. And they 100% sent people to do a site survey before they ever send helicopters to fly over there.
So then why is, Lieutenant Major General Major General Joseph McGee ordering a preliminary inquiry into the 101st Airborne Division?
Because somebody made a big deal about it, so they say, okay, we're doing an investigation, which means we're going to ask everybody what they did, how they planned it. We're going to look at the paperwork, and then probably nothing's going to happen because those pilots are trained to do way more dangerous stuff than that.
Okay.
So
Thank you for your call, Dave.
I think you're a little out of your depth.
Well, duh. I mean, like, come on. Like, wait, we talking about helicopters flying in Nissan Stadium. You know who's an expert on that? Jared Stillman. Come on, like, what? Duh.
I mean, I feel like you've probably pretended to be an expert on things before that you're not necessarily an expert on.
Like what?
I don't know, but I'm sure you have before.
No, not me. Ryan is up next here on Stillman and Company. Thank you for calling. Go ahead, Ryan.
You're dealing with Carolina. I feel sorry if you have to deal with this every single day. Jared, got two options. Either go to the game or stay home. Feel like tell everyone else. Stick to Twitter to complain about stuff.
Okay.
Talk about sports.
I will say this. Thank you for your call, Ryan. There is a difference between the people last year that were like, you know, why shut down everything? If we want to get COVID, then we get COVID. And if you don't want to get COVID, you stay at home. There's a difference between that and if I want to take the risk of getting hit by a helicopter in the middle of the stadium, then I'm going to take the risk and you stay home. Because that's kind of what that call felt like.
I mean, every time you step out your door, it's a risk of something happening. I mean, yeah, like a helicopter flying close to Nissan Stadium. I mean, like, if I don't know who is flying that helicopter, but it is probably someone with military credentials. If they can deal with terrorists, I'm sure they can deal with flying a helicopter over a stadium.
We don't listen to doctors anymore.
What does that have to do with anything?
Well, we're sitting here saying that, hey, you know, these pilots must be great. They must be fine. And half the people listening to the show don't even listen to doctors.
Well, I'm not going to make that assumption.
I said like.
I mean, I'm not going to make the assumption that anyone doesn't listen to doctors. But I would say that if you can fly a military helicopter, you probably have the credentials to do so.
No. See, this is what to me, that take is like hey, the coach knows best, so the coach must be right.
No, Jared, this is a helicopter. This is not a football team.
Crispy didn't like that one. Crispy takes offense to the coaching thing. That doesn't mean that the people flying the helicopters know what's best. They know they probably do, but it doesn't mean that they do.
And I'm not the person to tell them that they don't.
All I want is for us to get to the bottom of this. So Johnson.
Well, you launch your own investigation,
so
Sherlock.
we gave Johnson. I'm letting the Army do it, and I want to see what happens. The old man Johnson that called in, he's been holding since we didn't, we kind of tried to take his call. I'm going to give him another chance.
I think that'd be nice of you.
Johnson, go ahead.
Hello.
Go ahead, Johnson.
Okay, this is Johnson. Hey, again, a lot of people talk about something they don't know. You know, in Vietnam, we didn't measure 2 or 3 feet when a helicopter come down to evac, and we jumped out of helicopters at 1,000 feet, but we didn't run 1,000-foot tape down to make sure we was exactly right. The helicopter pilots are professionals. You don't put a 3-year-old to be a quarterback in a football team. I mean, why are people so fussy about the helicopter flying a little bit too low?
Johnson, I hear you, and I appreciate your service, and I thank you.
Well, I mean, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. These guys are professionals. If they weren't trained proper, they wouldn't be flying a helicopter.
Johnson, I hear you. I hear you. I appreciate your call, and again, thank you for your service. Can I just say one thing? There's a slight difference between Vietnam and the Titans-Saints game.
Okay, yes. And if you can handle Vietnam, you can probably handle the Titans-Saints game.
We don't have to take the same risks at Titans-Saints that we probably needed the pilots to take in Vietnam.
I don't think we were taking the same risks. I think they were very different.
I'm just saying.
I wasn't in Vietnam, but I can only assume.
Crispy will join us next. He knows all about Federal Aviation and helicopters and everything else. Crispy will join us. Predators win a big one. 4 goals from Forsberg. What's he make of it? Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. My guys, Hiller is giving away cash for the holidays, and they're celebrating from now until the end of the year with special deals. Hiller wants to make sure that every child experiences the joy of Christmas this year, and they're donating $50 in toys and Toys for Tots for every tankless water heater purchase. And they're giving away a $250 Visa gift card with each unit. Get a $500 Visa gift card when you buy select new HVAC systems, or a $500 Visa gift card with the purchase of any new whole home generator. More specials online at happyhiller.com. As always, happy you will be, or the service is free. These deals are only available until the end of the year, so schedule today. Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical, proud supporters of the Preds, the Vols, Vanderbilt. Hiller, call the Happy Face Truck today.
The Titans have lost back-to-back games going into the bye week.
The ball is loose.
You're not going to get everybody back feeling great. That's just, that's unrealistic.
What does it mean for the stretch run?
If I had to make a prediction right now, I'd probably pick them to go like 3-2 down the stretch.
You're home for the best Titans coverage.
We keep going for it with this group. Eventually, we're going to have to pay the piper.
Lives on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN.
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Gary Ashton here. Most people in Nashville know me as the don't sell without the intel and the guaranteed offer guy. But despite my accent, I'm also 100% guaranteed Nashville. I'm a guaranteed musician, a guaranteed dog lover, and you're also guaranteed to see me at every Titans and Preds game. Guaranteed offer means the Gary Ashton team with RE/MAX Advantage will sell your house for top dollar with no cleaning, staging, showings, or open houses, and give you up to 90 days to close. So there's plenty of time to find your next home. Guaranteed Nashville means my team lives here and loves it here. We've served Nashville for over 20 years, and we're passionate about helping the people we call neighbors and friends, which is why we've had a long-standing tradition of donating to the Vanderbilt Children's Hospital. If you're thinking about a guaranteed offer, get the only one that's guaranteed Nashville. Request a no-obligation offer by calling 615-301-1650 or go to GaryAshton.com today. Remember, Gary Ashton, guaranteed Nashville.
Finally, the return to live concerts. Evanescence. Hailstorm, a powerful rock experience returns. Special guest Lilith Czar. This Friday night, Bridgestone Arena. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. And stream the brand new Evanescence album, The Bitter Truth. Available everywhere. Evanescence. Hailstorm. Together, live.
Hey Nashville, get ready to party Smashville style. On February 26th, the Nashville Predators will make history with the first ever outdoor NHL game in Tennessee as they host the 2022 Navy Federal Credit Union NHL Stadium Series. The Preds will take on the back-to-back Stanley Cup champion Tampa Bay Lightning in front of 70,000 rockin' fans. Visit NHL.com/Stadium Series tickets.
Hey, it's Jared. Your body needs water. That doesn't mean it has to be boring. And I'm here to tell you to give Focus a try. Focus is a sparkling water with a spark. It's infused with a boost of natural tea caffeine, so you get clean energy without sugar, calories, or crash. Go to drinkfocus.com to find the full lineup of flavors and get them delivered right to your door. Enter promo code GAME at checkout for 15% off your first order. Focus is also available at your local Publix. That's Focus, P-H-O-C-U-S, on the web at drinkfocus.com.
Zines First is the official sign company for 102.5 The Game. Go to sfnash.com.
Nobody protects you from mayhem in Nashville like Allstate. I'm a broken traffic light. Stop and go is the name of my game. It's easy. You go, they go. Or was it they go, you go? And if you have the wrong car insurance, these repair costs could stop you in your tracks. So get Allstate's new low auto rate and be better protected from mayhem, like me.
Not available in every state, based on coverage and limits selected. Subject to terms, conditions, and availability. In most states, prices vary based on how you buy. Allstate Bar and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
This Saturday,
He lays it up. Blocked by Pippen. What a play.
Scottie Pippen Jr. and the Vanderbilt Commodores hit the road to the Lone Star State for an early season test at SMU. Coverage begins at 4:30 on 93.3 Classic Hits and the Classic Hits app.
Hey, this is Matthias Ekholm. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 1025 The Game.
Live at Bridgestone Arena, Preds and Bruins tonight right here, ESPN 1025 The Game. Preds Game Day broadcast at Bridgestone Arena, presented by Hermitage Design Center, the professional source for lighting, hardware, appliance, custom kitchens, and baths on the web at GoHermitage.com. Crispy, the Preds win one, lose one, win one, lose one, win one, lose one, win one, lose one. They won one the other night. I said before the game, I said I think they're going to win on Tuesday. I worry they're going to lose on Thursday. What is up with the inconsistent play of the Nashville Predators?
You know what? If I knew that, I could still be coaching probably. I got fired so many times for not figuring out. Coaches cannot figure and cannot, like I said to you before, we can't coach heart. We can't coach desire. We can't coach intensity. And we certainly can't coach a guy that doesn't want to play the way you're asking him to play. And I think John Hines has done a great job of getting this team, with the caliber of players he has, to play a solid game of what we have. Saros is great. But if you're asking me, I don't have the answer for that. You as a coach, you can go in and peel paint. You can go in and beg and plead. It's up to the guys pulling that jersey on.
So I have an interesting take that I want your opinion on here. It's kind of a rabbit hole, so go with me here. Okay. Adam Vingan writes the other day that Philip Forsberg should be traded. And then Philip Forsberg goes out, and I think he has 2 goals one game, and he had 4 goals the other night. Just lit it up. And we know Forsberg's incredibly streaky, and he can carry the team when he's hot. But I wonder if this is like last year when all the rumors were out there of, hey, they're going to tear this thing apart. If the Predators don't get it figured out right now, they're going to tear this baby apart. And then all of a sudden, the team started playing better. They started playing together because they didn't want to get moved out. And I wonder if it's a good idea to be floating around, hey, maybe Forsberg could be out there on the block. I don't know. Because it seems like that is the number one motivator for these guys to get off their rear ends and start playing better, is when all of a sudden they hear that their job might be at stake. I'm all for it, because if Forsberg keeps putting up points like this, Predators are going to win a lot of games.
You're going to start getting rid of him too, aren't you? All yours shows me, got to get rid of Forsberg.
I'm ready to trade right now.
That'll help us.
I trade him. I told you last week.
You know what, though? The thing is, as a coach, you cringe at these because your Forsbergs don't come along every year. And you don't get a Forsberg. And I don't care what we say about him. We've seen him do what he can do. This guy is a skilled hockey player. I'd say he's probably one of the best that have wore our jersey. One of the pure scorers. Radulov, to me, was one of the pure scorers. But Philip Forsberg can't be replaced when he's playing his game, and he proved that. There's only 3 teams in the history of the franchise that scored 4 goals in one game. Do you know who they were?
Eric Nystrom.
Yep.
I don't know the other one.
Yeah, you do. Wasn't it last year he did it?
Oh, yeah, Rocco Grimaldi. Oh, yeah.
I knew you'd get it.
Yeah, phone lines blew up the next day. Rocco,
and now Forsberg, he's got, if I'm not mistaken, the 4th goal he got was his 400th point or something, and he's got the fastest 400 points of games played of anybody. And I think there's, how many guys have 400 points? Maybe 5 or 6. Weber, Leg One, et cetera, and so on. But you know the guy who I love? Granlund. This guy got 4 assists last night. They were all primary assists. And what a primary assist for you out there really quick is, he's the guy doing the ball work, the carrying the ball and whatnot, and putting the puck right on Forsberg's stick every time, every pass. 4 of them, bing, bing. I think it's only, I don't know how, but it's not very many in history have done that, to give 4 primary assists to the guy who scores, to the same guy. Like, Granlund could have given 2 to you and 2 to me or whatever, and 4. But he nailed Forsberg 4 dead times. Forsberg then finished 4 of them. That's pretty good coordination. That's pretty good communication.
Do you think John Hines has found the line combination?
Yeah, for now, hey, we love it. But you just said it. They're going to have their downs. The things are going to go wrong a few games. But John Hines is not afraid to experiment. And he doesn't want to. No coach wants to. You and I have gone over this before. But he's not afraid. If he doesn't like what he sees and he doesn't think the chemistry is there, he'll move them. But he only moves 1. He always leaves 2 guys together, moves 1 around, puts 2 guys together, leaves 1 around. That's what he's done. Right now, John Hines is probably thinking, no changing whatsoever. Just leave my team alone right now. Let them play.
Defensively, you complained for a couple of weeks that you thought that they weren't doing enough in front of Saros, and that Saros was having to save everybody's bacon. I was at the game last Wednesday before Thanksgiving. I was at the game Friday, saw the game Saturday, saw the game Tuesday. Do you still see the same defensive problems? Because I can tell you in the Colorado game, I saw the same defensive problems, and I was not happy against Vegas about how they did not clear the puck out of the zone. That was driving me crazy. What did you think of it?
You know what? I'm still with you, and I've been on this one before, and I've said it publicly that that we can get better defensively. We can have, and I'm going to say that stupid phrase I use, head on a swivel more. Our defensemen have got to be aware of who's loose, where the puck is going, and who's behind you, who's standing at the side of the net. And we went through this with Pecorine, and Pecorine carried us, and he saved our bacon more times than you can shake a stick at. Saros has done the same thing. When does it start to turn that these guys are protecting Saros and giving him the advantage, letting him know that they can do it? So to me, it's a work in progress, and you talk to Coach Hines and them, they're still doing their best, but the guys on the ice are the ones who've got to do it. That's the only ones. We can't put our skates on and go out there.
Is it wrong for me to look at the defense right now and say, Yossi's playing great, as usual for the most part. Ekholm's solid. You know, the other two young guys make mistakes. I mean, Fabro, now we're getting to the point with Fabro where he's getting a little too old to keep making the mistakes that he makes. But, you know, they're younger guys. Like, this is what they are.
You know, though, you forgot two that I love.
Don't tell me Benning.
Yes, and I'm going to give
I
it
liked
to
him last year in the playoffs, and I did not like him right now.
Benning and Borvieski, you watch them. They're probably the most consistent. What was the word you used there? Did I hear you say defenseman? Defenseman? They are the best two on defense. Boro takes the man, takes the body. Benning will tackle anybody. Now, he's not big enough, strong enough sometimes to hold them, but he's certainly not afraid to go head-to-head with them. And Benning and Boro are two of the guys that they put out, what do they call them, the third pairing? Mm-hmm. Well, that third pairing is getting the job done as far as I'm concerned.
Where I was sitting in the Vegas game, there's a puck right in front of the net, and I saw Tanner Jeannot and Matt Benning try to clear it. And I thought it was worse than Caroline taking Thursday and Friday off. I mean, Benning was taking Wednesday off, and it was, it was
God forbid I celebrate a holiday with my family and loved ones.
You and Matt Benning.
But Caroline, look at this.
We celebrated together.
You took the heat off of Benning and Jeannot. That was nice of you.
Oh, my God.
That was nice of you.
You know what? It's a sacrifice I'm willing to make for them.
Out to lunch. Crispy, what do you want to see next out of the Predators, especially these young guys that, Tomasino scored the other night? And I mean, I give Hines credit. He's putting them out there. But what's kind of the next step for these guys?
Probably the same as they did last game. Keep that video and remind them how they should play. They were aggressive all night. They didn't back off. They didn't go into the 1-3-1 that kills me, slays me late in the third period. That didn't happen. They just kept pushing and pushing. And when we're forechecking hard with a meaning, and when we're coming back with a meaning, and I always say to you, you back check with a purpose. You don't just back check just to wave at your wife in the stands or your girlfriend in the stands or whatnot. You back check to pick up a man, have a man, and everybody's covered until you get that puck out of your zone. And it's the American Express card rule. Nobody leaves home without it.
Oh, Terrence Arthur Crisp, as always.
Ta-da!
He will be on
Good
TV.
one, Crispy.
If only the app would work for me, then I could watch Crispy on TV the other night, but that's neither here nor there. And always good to see you, Crispy.
Always good to be on. Caroline, good luck, eh?
Oh,
I'm going to need it, Crispy.
I hate to leave you, but
I'm going to need all the luck I can get.
No, you can handle it.
Terry Crisp, as always, joining us on the program. Crispy has a Jersey to Go debut out on the plaza, 5 o'clock. He and Brent Peterson will be out there. So if you want to go see Crispy, knock yourself out and do that. Always good to see you, Crispy. As always, joining us on the program. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. We'll hit some headlines with Caroline, and we'll do that coming up next. Join ESPN, The Game Nashville, and the Newton Motor Group as we team up this holiday season to help children in Middle Tennessee with Souls for Music City. More than 4,000 children in the metro area experience homelessness, and over 18,000 in Middle Tennessee. The Game and Cromwell Media are teaming up with Souls for Souls to provide a new pair of shoes to these children who are experiencing homelessness. Souls for Souls works with our schools and community partners to deliver new shoes to kids who need them most. Newton Motor Group will be making a donation to Souls for Souls for every test drive at any of the Newton Motor Group's 4 locations from now through the end of the year. We need your help to give these kids the joy and confidence they deserve. For more information and to donate, go to thegamenashville.com/shoes.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 Code Red meteorologist Greg Bobis. Warm temperatures will continue into tonight. A low of only 45 degrees. Back into the 70s again for your Friday. Mainly sunny. High temperatures in the low to middle 70s as we push into the afternoon.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Forecast, quality candidates ahead. Indeed skills tests help you find the right hire faster. Screen for skills your job requires. Hiring becomes a breeze. Visit Indeed.com/credit.
When it's more than just your lawn, it deserves the Kubota Z400. Get a head-turning offer on class-leading speed, agility, simple deck height adjustments, and a quality cut. When you need comfort and performance, then you need the professional-grade Kubota Z400. Right now, get the Kubota Z400 mower for 0 down, 0.99% APR for 36 months, plus no payments until April 1st, 2022. Now through December 31st. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
Come see why Coleman Tractor Company is one of the largest Kubota dealers in Middle Tennessee, with 4 locations to serve you in Paris, Clarksville, Nashville, and their new location in White House.
Mortgage rates are on the move, but you can still lower your house payment with my friends at Loan Pronto. Willie here. Call Loan Pronto now and take advantage of their super popular zero-cost refi program. So many people are doing this before the year ends. You can refi now. Get a rate with an APR in the low 2s with no junk fees and no closing costs, even if you refinanced 6 months ago. Loan Pronto's all-digital process is fast and easy, virtually no paperwork required, and most loans get closed in 14 days. And if you act right now, you can even skip your next 2 house payments. So call Loan Pronto now. Rates are still really low. If you're currently in the APR range of over 2.75, call now. You got nothing to lose. See how much you can save by going into the new year. Lower that house payment. Call 615-499-5780 or go to loanpronto.com. That's 615-499-5780 or loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender. NMLS 1661781. Subject to lender approval. Not all loans eligible. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
From curriculum-based literacy programs and sport leagues to college tours and workforce readiness tracks, Boys and Girls Clubs of Middle Tennessee provide a safe place where youth gain the tools to learn, lead, and reach their full potential. You can support local youth and their great futures by donating at bgcmt.org.
Tune in every Monday at 8 a.m. and Friday at 3:15 to hear News 2's Corey Curtis take on all things Nashville sports, including the week's NFL games. All brought to you by Invigorate Health in Mount Juliet. Look and feel your best with IV therapy, medical weight loss, testosterone, body shaping, and more.
Yo, this is Justin from Music City Vintage, here to provide you with all your vintage apparel and shoe needs. We've partnered with 102.5 The Game to provide you all with an exclusive discount today. Come to our shop today, located in East Nashville at 2503 Gallatin Avenue, and say The Game at checkout and get 10% off your entire order. If you're unable to make it in, we got something for you as well. All of our products in store are also available on our website at musiccityvtg.com. Just use promo code GAME at checkout and get 10% off your order.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? So your wipers are streaking. It might be time for a new set. We've got a great deal to help you get the job done and be ready for the weather ahead. Right now, you can get a $15 AutoZone gift card by mail or email when you buy 2 Bosch Envision wiper blades. And we've got even more ways to shop. Just order online with our free same-day store pickup or next-day delivery.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Start your job today at AutoZone.com. Restrictions apply.
Darren McFarland.
And a mulligan that we all look for in golf. Lord knows our game could use it.
Willie Donick.
Outworked and outperformed a lot of other really good players.
Chase McCabe.
I want some sort of trade protection.
Darren, Donick, and Chase have you covered weekdays from 10 to 2. Presented by Curacion CBD on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
This is Stillman and Company, delivered by TriStar Moving.
Stillman and Company, we're live at Bridgestone Arena. The Preds taking on the Bruins tonight. Let me tell everyone to tune into the Game of the Week on ESPN 1025 The Game, brought to you by Red Spirits and Wine in Bellevue. The Game of the Week this Sunday, 1025 The Game, the Baltimore Ravens and the Pittsburgh Steelers with a 3:25 kickoff. Jared versus Joe coming up at the top of the hour at 5 o'clock. Meanwhile, the Predators have debuted. Go on to Twitter. They have debuted their new Stadium Series jersey. It is a navy jersey with like a gold in the center and a Smashville on it. And you are entitled to your opinion on it. But it's time now for headlines with Caroline.
We're spanning the sports world. It's Headlines with Caroline on Stillman and Company, right here on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
So we learned about a month or so ago that Antonio Brown submitted a false vaccination card to the NFL. So misrepresenting his vaccination status is what the NFL said. And we learned today that Antonio Brown has been suspended 3 games for violating the NFLPA's COVID-19 protocols. We kind of expected this. We were just kind of waiting on the impending suspension that would come for Antonio Brown. But a lot of the conversation around this story has been, what about Aaron Rodgers? What about his suspension for technically lying not to the league, but to reporters?
I don't know. Vrabel said in the Man in the Arena video, the Tom Brady docuseries, it's on ESPN+, Vrabel said that he basically lied to the media. You'd be shocked to know that the NFL doesn't care if you lie to the media. The NFL cares if you lie to the NFL. So it's kind of like politics, right? Like you can lie to the public, but you can't lie under oath.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the way the NFL's approaching this. Aaron Rodgers didn't lie to the NFL. Aaron Rodgers went to the NFL and said, hey, I got this COVIDSafeTreatment.com that this, guy
Everything's
told me
a website
I could
these
do,
days.
and is it okay if I do this? And the NFL was like, no, Aaron. And it was like, but no, my own research, Joe Rogan says that if I do this, then the antibodies, I have them, and then, no, Aaron. And I think Aaron Rodgers said that he was asked what the NFL thought when he did that, and they were like, he said the NFL thought he was a quack. So, he still operated under the unvaccinated protocols, supposedly. I don't know. I wasn't there. But he operated as if he was unvaxxed because he didn't lie to the league and say that he was vaxxed.
He said he was immunized in a press conference.
Right. So, there should be no punishment for Aaron Rodgers unless we want to punish everybody for lying to the media, which...
In that case, everyone would be suspended.
In theory, yes. So I don't think you're going to do that. So no punishment for Rodgers. I'm fine with 3 games for AB. I mean, isn't that a federal crime? Isn't faking your vax card, isn't that like a federal crime?
Because I think, because the vaccination cards are
document.
printed by the CDC, which is a government entity. So if you make a false one, that would be the same thing as having a fake ID or a fake passport. That's a false government-issued document. So I do think that is a crime, but I don't know. I don't know how the government is handling it.
What's this?
Adrian Peterson has found a new home.
Old man Peterson going to
Old
Seattle.
man Peterson is going to the Seattle Seahawks, to their practice squad, and I can only assume it's security for their banged-up running back room. Pete Carroll said he's a player that I've known forever, which I'm sure Peterson has been in the league forever. But Pete Carroll goes on to say that way back to his high school days, I've admired him tremendously over the years. Always disappointed we didn't get him back in the day. But just like I told him, we finally got him. So I'm looking forward to seeing how he does and where he can fit in. It's a lot of talk from Pete Carroll. Do we think it's going to be the same approach that the Titans had with Adrian Peterson, which, he's not touching the ball on every snap?
Does anybody care about Adrian Peterson this year and think that has anything to do with anything? And does anybody care about Seattle for the rest of this year and thinks that they will have anything to do with anything?
I would probably say no to both.
I think they are both irrelevant for the rest of the year. Now, I think there's going to be a lot of talk in the offseason about Pete Carroll and should Pete be fired and should Russell be moved and can Pete and Russell make it work? And most people in national media don't think that Pete and Russell can make it work. But right now, that's really the only thing that I seem to care about when it comes to Seattle. When I saw this, I was like, man, Adrian, hang it up, babe.
I mean, do you think at the end of the season he will? I feel like he's just trying to pick up some playing time, pick up a paycheck wherever he can. And at the end of this season,
why?
What do you mean why?
Why does Adrian Peterson need practice squad money?
I mean, he doesn't need the money, but if you love playing the game and you're getting opportunities and it's paying you, then sure. And if you want to keep playing, keep playing.
But that's different than trying to get a paycheck. I think that I think a lot of these guys love
he's
the
not
game,
going to do it for free.
But Adrian Peterson has made over $99 million in his career. Made probably $30,000 on the practice squad.
Okay.
$99 million.
I mean, I'm not saying that he's doing it because he's hurting for cash, but if you want to stay in the game and if you feel like you can keep going,
wants to play.
Then keep going.
He's
not going to play for free, but he wants to play.
He's done. He's done.
He doesn't think he is.
He's done. Ian, is he done?
I tend to lean so, yeah.
He's done. Just hang it up. 5 years, call us from Canton. Like, it's time, Adrian. It's time, baby. It's time to hang it up. Time to move on.
Taysom Hill will make his first start at quarterback this season.
I am
against
excited
the
about
Dallas
this tonight.
Cowboys tonight because you hate Taysom Hill. And
Here's,
you want to see
here's
him
why.
fail.
Here's why. Because I think Taysom Hill sucks. Like, I think Taysom Hill.
You think he sucks?
I think he is not good at any position they ask him to play.
Well, because they ask him to play
wide.
wide receiver, quarterback, tight end, running back, offensive line coach, offensive coordinator. I mean, they ask him to play so many positions.
Right.
So how can you be a Pro Bowler in any of those positions when you play all of them?
Well, Deion Sanders played a lot of positions, and he was pretty darn good.
Well, Deion Sanders
So,
is different
I'm
than
going to
Taysom
say
Hill.
this. The Saints think Taysom Hill is like God's gift to football.
I don't understand his new contract.
Like they
just signed a monster
they
contract.
love giving him contract extension. I've never seen anything like it. I mean, Taysom Hill has like no use to me. He's not good at any of the things you ask him to do. And if he was really good at any of them, wouldn't you ask him to do one? Like if he was a really good quarterback, like Cam Newton probably could have played another position in his career in the NFL when he was good. But you're not going to ask Cam to do that because you asked him to play quarterback. So if Taysom Hill was good, you'd ask him to play another position, or you'd ask him to play that one position. So tonight, for all the Taysom believers, tonight is their opportunity. So Sean Payton's going to put him out there against the Dallas Cowboys on national TV. And if Taysom Hill can throw the football, then we'll all look at Sean Payton like he's crazy because he didn't play Taysom Hill and when he was playing Trevor Siemian. He's probably not going to light it up tonight. He's probably going to stink. And when he does, we're all going to look at Sean Payton like, why are you obsessed with this guy? So that is why I'm happy for tonight's game, because one way or another, this should solve all doubt of whether or not Taysom Hill is any good.
At quarterback. What?
What position do you think he's good at?
I mean, I'm telling you right now, I don't think he's outstanding in any position, but he has the ability to play multiple positions. And how nice would that be, say, for the Titans right now, to have a player that you can plug in, play running back, plug in and catch some passes?
I mean, I'd rather have Cody Hollister out there to catch passes.
Okay.
He's a practice squad guy.
Okay.
So I'd rather have a practice squad guy.
I'm not saying that Taysom Hill deserves that contract, because I think that contract was stupid.
I think Taysom Hill is the most overappreciated player in the NFL by his own team. I think the rest of the league's like, every time they come in to run some stupid play with him and take Drew Brees off the field and put him in there to throw it, something bad happened every time. Like, I am so over Taysom Hill. I hope Dallas sticks their foot up Taysom Hill's rear end, and I don't have to hear any more about Taysom Hill and this gadget guy that's just unstoppable. I'm over it.
Also, Alvin Kamara is questionable. Teron Armstead, offensive tackle, and Ryan Ramczyk, another offensive tackle, are questionable for the game tonight. A little bit of college football news. Yesterday morning, the College Football Playoff Committee met, and they were fully prepared to make an announcement about a college football playoff expansion. They had this whole conference room set up with all of the balloons and such, whatever it was. But by that afternoon, it was kind of back to the drawing board, and they weren't ready to make that announcement quite yet. Big 12 Commissioner Bob Bowlesby said, "I thought there was a chance that we could get to the end today. We're not quite there, and for appropriate reasons why, we didn't." So they were unable to agree on that expanded format today. They will meet again in January at the national championship game in Indianapolis to decide whether they want to expand or not. But we've been told from the very beginning that if they want to expand the playoff by the 2024 season, they have to do it by January, and for contracts purposes and planning purposes. So if they don't reach a decision by January, the playoff will not expand until 2026. And the commissioners pretty much have to start with a complete blank slate in terms of partners and networks and planning. But no shock at all. Greg Sankey seemed to be a bit upset that they did not reach a decision today.
Oh, yeah, Greg Sankey. Oh, yeah. Well, it's not like Greg doesn't have his own interest at heart here. Here's the thing. And I don't know, like, I get the idea that with an early signing period, coaches are going to leave and not coach bowl games. I don't care about that. And I don't care about players that opt out of bowl games, and I don't care about any of that. Like, Notre Dame has a legitimate chance to make the playoff. Like, a legitimate chance to make the playoff.
Mm-hmm.
And the coach left. And it's like, to me, I think the college football playoff has to pass a rule that if you're going to be a member institution that plays for the college football playoff, then you cannot leave for another job. If that coach leaves for another job, then the school that he goes to is not allowed to make the playoff for 2 years. So LSU would have to make the concession that in order to hire Brian Kelly, that they could not go to the playoff for 2 years.
Why?
Because I think it totally undermines the integrity of the playoff. The idea that Notre Dame's coach says, well, the chances of us making it aren't great, and I can get more money going over there, so I'm out. But good luck this season, guys. Because, I mean, this is the biggest problem that I think
But to
I
punish
have.
another school for filling their coaching need?
Well, am I going to punish the school that lost the coach?
No, I just don't think it's you should punish any school.
So you don't have any problem with the integrity of college football.
I didn't say that.
You love college football.
I never said that.
Well, then what are you going to do about it?
I mean, I personally think that there should be a coaching freeze for all schools. I don't care if you're in contention for the playoff or not. At a certain point throughout the season, there should be a coaching freeze. But then you mess with the early signing period. Then, recruits can't make their decision of where they want to go because they don't know who is going to be coaching for what school. I think it is incredibly crummy that coaches can leave, that Brian Kelly could leave, knowing very well that Notre Dame has a legitimate chance at making the playoffs. Depending on what happens in these conference championships, Notre Dame very easily could be in the playoff, and Brian Kelly will not be there.
Who can institute a coaching freeze and enforce it?
I mean, I would say the NCAA, but what can they do anymore?
Nope.
The playoff?
I
don't know.
The playoff. That's it. So what do? You can't say a coaching freeze because then, like, Akron will be able to fill their jobs or they'll be able to do whatever, and not everybody else will be able to do the same. The reality is that you have to have consequences that would keep a school from hiring another coach. Like LSU's not going to vote to be out of the playoff contention for 2 years to hire Brian Kelly.
No.
Okay.
That's why they hired Brian Kelly, was to get to the to the college football playoff.
But this is terrible for the sport, and it's terrible for the playoff. It is terrible for the playoff that the schools are basically telling, and the coaches are basically telling you, yeah, like, we don't really care that much. Like, we care about our money first, we care about our future money second, and then we care about our own current situation last. And I think I hope Notre Dame makes the playoff, because I hope it's a complete and total embarrassment for the system, which I've told you, my biggest issue with college basketball is like the NBA. Sometimes I feel like it's not even about basketball anymore, and sometimes I think with college football, it's not even about football anymore. And I think about Floyd, and I think Floyd would be disgusted with Brian Kelly if Notre Dame ends up making the playoff.
Quite possible. Yep.
I mean, I think
it was a crummy move.
For like a football guy to give up on the whole team. Well, they got a shot now. Alabama loses and Oklahoma State loses, and there's a chance.
Yeah.
Like, there's a chance.
And there's no promise Cincinnati's going to get in.
And that, to me, that is screwed up. And I'm not mad at Brian Kelly. I mean, this is the system that we play in. I'm not mad at LSU. But you're not going to expand to 12 teams to try to get me to care about it when all of a sudden your own schools are saying, well, we don't really care that much. The playoff doesn't matter that much to us. It's like a starting pitcher who's like, I would pitch on 3 days rest in Game 7, but I got a contract next year, so I don't like that. Headlines with Caroline. Joe Rexroad, Jared versus Joe. We missed it last week because of the holiday. That's next right here. Stillman and Company. It's ESPN 105 The Game.
Your speaker at home is so smart that even Alexa knows where to find Nashville's best sports talk.
102.5 The Game is Nashville's best sports talk.
Ask Alexa to enable 102.5 The Game. Once enabled, ask Alexa to play 102.5 The Game.
Welcome to 102.5 The Game.
We are Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Parman Tractor and Equipment is your one-stop tractor and equipment solution and Middle Tennessee's Link Belt and Takeuchi dealer. No matter how you're getting there, start with Parman Tractor and Equipment. Rent or purchase a track loader, mini excavator, large excavators for your job site, or something in between. Their service and parts team will get your work site up and running in no time. Parman Tractor and Equipment will come to you for service if needed. Visit ParmanTractor.com for more info. Your Middle Tennessee Link Belt and Takeuchi dealer, providing totally outrageous customer service.
If you snore, it may be a sign of a more serious, possibly life-threatening condition. Most people think of snoring as a nuisance, but it's a much more serious medical condition than you think. Snoring has been associated with chest pain, sleep apnea, high blood pressure, chronic pain, obesity, headaches, and sore throat. Take a listen to what some of our patients are saying about the revolutionary Vivo system.
Right after I started using it, I noticed the results really, especially with the snoring. My sleep apnea episodes are a fraction of what they were before. This product's phenomenal. It changed my life.
I am 100% happy that I did this, and I'm thankful every day that I have it.
If you're curious about our sleep devices, call now for a sleep consultation. Don't let your spouse have to sleep in the guest room, and don't risk the severe health complications of snoring and sleep apnea.
Dr. Kelly Rice is certified to provide the Vivo system to open the airway for a better night's sleep. Call 615-373-4488 or go to BrentwoodSleepApnea.com now to see which therapy can work best for you.
Individual results may vary. Always seek the advice of your health provider with any questions regarding a medical condition.
Social Furniture is your local one-stop all-furniture store in West Nashville with over 100 styles in store and new specials every week. Social Furniture has you covered. At Social Furniture, you'll never be hassled when you come in. Their friendly staff will help you choose the right furniture for your home. Social Furniture offers same-day delivery and free curbside pickups. Visit Social Furniture in West Nashville at 5412 Charlotte Avenue. Forget the big box store. Support local. Support social. Social Furniture on the web at mysocialfurniture.com.
Touchdown, Leonard Fournette.
Witness tomorrow's NFL stars this December at the Trans-Perfect Music City Bowl.
Eli back to throw, avoids pressure, steps up, has a man wide open, Armstrong in the end zone, touchdown.
Don't miss a second as two of college football's most exciting programs from the SEC and Big Ten go head-to-head on Thursday, December 30th at 2 p.m. inside Nissan Stadium. For more information on this year's game, including ticket availability, visit MusicCityBowl.com to get your tickets today.
5G is here, but the big carriers want you to sign a pricey long-term contract to get in on the action. Well, no more, because Straight Talk Wireless has rolled out 5G coverage nationwide, with plans starting at just $35 a month with no contract. And get a Samsung Galaxy A32 5G for only $299, all on America's best networks. 5G coverage, 5G phones, less money. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise. 5G capable device required, actual availability, coverage, and speed may vary.
Spring Hill Heating and Cooling is here to serve you. Is your AC or heating unit old and inefficient? Is it breaking down yearly? Now is the time to replace it. Waiting can cost you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. Just like everything, the cost of a new AC unit is rising. Effective January 1st, all manufacturers are increasing prices up to 10%. Get ahead of the game and call Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, offering 60 months no interest financing and 10-year parts and labor warranty on all new units. Schedule now at springhillac.com or call 615-778-8855.
Nashville's best sports talk, locally owned, home of our Nashville Predators. WPRT-FM Pegram, 97.5 Murfreesboro, WBUZ HD2 Laverne, online at thegamenashville.com. We are
ESPN
102.5 The Game. Live from the Game Nashville studios, it's Stillman and Company. Delivered by TriStar Moving. TriStar Movers with 5-star service. With Jared Stillman on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving. ESPN 102.5 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda Gentry. We're live at Bridgestone Arena. Preds tonight against the Boston Bruins, 7 o'clock puck drop. And 102.5 The Game's Preds Game Day broadcast brought to you by Hermitage Design Center, the professional source for lighting, hardware, appliance, custom kitchens, and baths on the web at GoHermitage.com. Joe Rexroad, basketball Benny himself, joins us now on the program, as always, for Jared versus Joe. We missed you last week, Joe, because you had to watch King Richard with your family, which I found out you could stream on HBO Max, but that's neither here nor there. How are you, Joe?
I'm fine, and I'd like it known for the record that I offered alternative times, and you said, well, we'll get it next week. So to me, it was more that you dodged me, but hey, 6 of one, half dozen of the other.
Well, Joe, it's very nice to have you back. We're ready to get started?
Carolina's good to hear you.
Joe's Michigan State Spartans did take care of my Louisville Cardinals last night, so I'm sure Joe was cheering very loud.
Point one for Joe.
In his household. Ian, hit it.
Jared Stillman versus Joe Rexrode. Now on Stillman and Company.
On ESPN.
102.5 The Game.
First and foremost, we got to talk about Philip Forsberg. 4 goals Tuesday night. Jared, you go first. Was Adam thinking right? Should the Predators still trade Philip Forsberg?
Yes. See, here's what I don't understand, right? And it's like the flyovers. I get that people do this, but I don't understand why, right? So we've seen Philip Forsberg every game for like the last 7 years. So we know what Philip Forsberg is. We know that when he's hot, that he can carry the entire team. He did that in 2016 when he got red hot. He did it in 2017 when he literally scored like in 17 straight games and the Predators, really put themselves into the playoff mix at the beginning of the year. But he's very inconsistent. He's injury prone. And he is due a new contract, and you're going to have to pay him Ryan Johansson and Matt Duchene money. And unfortunately, you can't get out of one of those deals in order to sign Forsberg. So while you would be missing something if he left, I'm not letting 4 goals in one game change my opinion of what I know about Forsberg over a 7-year period. So what I would say is this. I would say this is good because now the asking price is more. Now you tell Edmonton, hey, you want to make a run at a cup. You give me your first-round pick, you give me your top prospect, and you give me next year's first-round pick because right now he's on fire, and if you had that with Draisaitl and McDavid, you might be able to get to the cup. But no, I think if anything, this makes me more apt to trade him. I know what he is, but if he's hot before it comes time to trade, he's worth more. I absolutely think Adam Vingan is right. Joseph.
Okay, so look, I agree with everything Jared said about Philip as a player for sure. And I would definitely be leaning toward dealing him right now. I'm not ready to sit here and say, absolutely, he must be traded because I don't know what you could possibly get him to agree to. I mean, if you could get a quote-unquote team, look, if it actually is anywhere close to 8, there's no way. But if he at some point decides, you know what, this is my home, and I love the direction of this team, and so sign me up for the team-friendly deal, whatever that is. I'm keeping an open mind on extending him because while I absolutely agree that we know what he is. He's a very good player. He's streaky. He's injury-prone. Yep. You also do not grow Philip Forsbergs on trees, and it could be a long time before this franchise sees another one like him, so you have to keep that in mind as well.
So I definitely don't disagree with that. I compare him, though, to Corey Davis. And I would say that the second that you lose a Corey Davis.
Come on.
No, he's.
Corey Davis.
Hear me out. The second you let go of Philip Forsberg, you're going to be looking for a Philip Forsberg. The second you lose Corey Davis, the Titans are looking for a number 2 wide receiver, and they don't have anybody as good as Corey Davis, and Julio Jones is not as good as Corey Davis. But Corey Davis makes too much money. Corey Davis is too inconsistent. Corey Davis gets hurt too often. So, Corey Davis was good last year on this team, but I was never going to pay him the money that it would take, and he was never worth the 5th overall pick. Forsberg's the exact same way. He's streaky. He's injury-prone. He's not going to be worth the money that he signs for, and the second you lose him, you're going to need to go out and find somebody to replace him, just like Corey Davis.
It's a pretty flawed comparison. I will agree that when Julio Jones is injured and not playing in a football game, he is not as good as Corey Davis. I will give you that.
Well, get used to it because it's going to be happening the rest of this year and next year too. What's next?
On to the Titans. Joe, you go first. Insert a healthy Derrick Henry, a healthy A.J. Brown, a healthy Julio, a healthy Bud Dupree. In the Titans right now, do the Titans go 2-0 in their last 2?
Okay, wait. I want to make sure I have that right. You're putting all these players in, and do they do what?
So, putting all of the injured players, putting them healthy now. They beat the Texans and the Patriots.
Oh, these last 2 games?
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. Without question. And I think that 100% about New England too. I did not come away overly impressed with New England. New England is solid. New England's going to be in the playoffs. It's a sound team. Can run the ball, can play pretty good defense. Mac Jones is a nice rookie quarterback. But, yeah, all those guys on this team with what they had going, I mean, I guess I'd like you to add David Long in there for me to feel better, even better about it. But yeah, those 4 guys. Yep. I mean, the Texans. I mean, that's you're talking about a 9-0 turnover margin. I mean, you're talking about some extenuating circumstances here, even without those guys. And I understand what the margin turned out to be at New England, but we all saw that game. I mean, that game was a toss-up game if you don't keep giving them the football. So I think resoundingly so, they win those games.
I mean, if the Texans played Deshaun Watson in that game, does that I mean, the reality of the NFL is guys are going to get hurt, So I mean, I hate to say that, I don't care if those guys have been available for the Texan game. The reality is they weren't, and if you're going to go on to get the number 1 seed, you're going to have to do a lot of this without them. If you're going to be the number 1 seed in the AFC, which TD and I were talking about this earlier, it's very much likely that the Titans, I feel like the Titans have the best chance of anybody out there to get the number 1 seed, but you're going to have to do this without all those guys. So, I mean, I hate to dog on the question, but I'm not sure that it matters. The idea of, well, if these guys had played, this would have made this big of a difference. Well, yeah, you're putting the best player in the NFL back on the Titans against arguably the worst team in the Texans. I would think that would probably play some kind of a role. Now, the Titans have lost games against bad teams with those kind of things. The other thing, though, is, what's the game plan like for Belichick with those guys? Does Belichick have a different game plan if Derrick Henry's in there? I'm going to guess yes. Do the Titans have a different defensive game plan if they've got Bud Dupree rushing the passer? There's so much there to add. I think the bigger question is not about would they have won the games with the injuries, because I think that's just excuse making. I think the bigger question is, can they win these games down the stretch against San Francisco and Miami and the Texans and the Jags and the Steelers? Can they win these games down the stretch if they don't have those guys? Because that's bigger to me than, well, would they have beaten the Texans with their – I mean, I guess, but it doesn't do you any good to sit there and ponder and say – it's not like you don't get to count it. You don't get to look at the league and say, well, that one doesn't count because we need to do over there, because that's not how the NFL works.
Yeah, let it be known, Caroline. I mean, that right there should be an automatic demerit. I mean, Jared's not even answering the questions now. He's commenting on the questions.
Well, in all fairness, I thought it was a pretty terrible question.
Well, thank you so much for your input on the questions, seeing as though I make them, and I will continue to make them. And if you don't like them, then that is your prerogative.
I'm just saying.
And it's easy to play revisionist history and say, yes, you put all these good players in, and yes, they would beat them. But I'm saying, look, no, I'm asking you, did the Titans play in a way, and if you put those guys in, do you still think that the mistakes that they would have made, would they have made those mistakes? With the turnovers, would they have still made those turnovers? Would they have been able to bridge any sort of gap that was made in those games? Because it's easy to say, yeah, throw those good players and they would have beaten them. I personally don't think that the Titans would have beaten the Patriots if Derrick Henry would have played.
Didn't you say that? You said the opposite yesterday.
I know, and I take it back.
I mean, I'll put you like this.
I tell you this. They would have probably scored 14 points on the wide open field that Hilliard had when he fumbled.
If Blaine Bishop...
So that's 7 points.
If Blaine Bishop and Marcus Robertson play in the Super Bowl, I don't think... And Blaine got hurt in it. Robertson broke his ankle in the AFC title game. I don't think Kurt Warner hits Isaac Bruce over the middle for a touchdown to win the game, and I think the Titans win Super Bowl 34. So let's go make some rings, baby.
Oh, you're being annoying about the question.
What's next?
Another question for you. Joe, go first. AB gets a 3-game suspension for submitting a false vaccination card. A lot of the discussion is, should Aaron Rodgers be held to that same standard? Do you think Aaron Rodgers should have gotten a suspension?
Who is saying that?
A lot of people on Twitter and a lot of people in the text line. There's 17 texts in the text line talking about Aaron Rodgers.
Go ahead, Joe.
No. I mean, look, again, the Packers knew. So, I mean, this was he deserved all the heat, all the smoke he got for lying publicly to the media so that everyone could report Aaron Rodgers is vaccinated. But this is way less than that. I mean, you're talking about a federal offense, right? I mean, this is not that. This is or that is not this. That is a public thing, and it's ridiculous, and he deserves to be ridiculed and criticized. But I mean, what those guys did is absolutely a crime and deserves way stronger punishment.
Yeah, I completely agree with Joe. I mean, this idea of well, Aaron Rodgers lied. He lied to the media. Everybody lies to the media. I mean, it's like it's like having a press conference and saying something and then going under oath and saying something totally different. It's like, well, in that press conference on March 17th, you said no one would say, well, you know what, that's perjury. I mean, that's the difference. And Joe's right. I mean, 3 games for a federal offense. Like, where did the NFL come up with 3 games from?
That's kind of what I want to know. Is there a standard set for this?
I mean, like, you're talking about, like, something pretty serious, like lying about your vaccination status, which you didn't have to lie about, but you chose to lie about. I mean, like, steroids in baseball is half the season if you get caught with that. And, I mean, I think 3 games is kind of ridiculous. But that's just me.
Right. And steroids in baseball doesn't directly potentially impact another person. I mean, I agree.
No, but it is lying. You know what I mean? Like, it is, you're skirting the rules. And in this case, like, no, like, I'm not going to be the guy that says, like, AB put everybody's life at risk because he lied about getting vaccinated. I'm not going there because not one player in college or pro football has died from COVID. So I'm not going to be super doom and gloom about it. But it should be more than 3 games. And it is a federal crime.
It's an infectious disease, Jared, so then you give it to a teammate who gives it to their grandparents. So don't let them off the hook for that. It doesn't have to be directly the next person. It's an infectious disease that spreads to other people.
I hear you, but I'm just telling you that I don't think the average person in this time frame is going to get all hot and bothered about it. Joe Banner, the old Eagles president, was all worked up about it. And I mean, look, I got boosted yesterday. I, followed all the rules. But I'm not going to sit there and think that it's like putting everybody's life at stake. I mean, I just...
Okay. Well, 17,000 people have died in this state alone of COVID. So,
Joe, I hear you. I'm just saying, like, I think that he should be more punished. And I think what he did was wrong. And I think it's a crime. But I also don't think it's like, oh, the humanity, which is what I kind of feel like. People lie, Joe. What's next?
We just discussed it, so I'm going to let Joe go first again on this one, get his perspective, and then you can rebuttal if you'd like. We were just talking, Joe, about Brian Kelly leaving Notre Dame before the season is over when Notre Dame has a legitimate shot at getting to the college football playoff. Should College Football institute a coaching freeze or some sort of consequence so coaches cannot leave if their team is in legitimate contention for a national championship?
No, I heard Jared's cockamamie plan, and it made me laugh out loud. So, I mean, I've already laughed at it, so I can't manufacture a lot more laughter. Well, actually, it is kind of funny now. I think, no, you can't do that. I mean, look,
why?
It's gross. Well, it's so dumb.
Why?
Jared, this because this is America, and this is an open market, and people can hire and fire people in whatever industry they want, Jared. I mean, it's stupid.
Okay, well, this is America, and I'm the college football playoff, and I can tell you these are the rules that if you want to qualify for the college football playoff that you have to follow.
Yeah, great. So you're going to say, LSU just hired Brent. Next 2 years, you're out of the playoff. That's so ridiculous.
Yes. No, what? That's the rule.
Oh,
I'm the playoff. I decide. In order to qualify,
why?
Like if you have a certain academic rate, you can't qualify for the bowl game, right?
Yes, but this is not an academic rate.
Okay, but they make that rule, right?
Okay,
that's their rule. They are entitled to their rules.
But it's not their rule. It's your rule.
No, my rule, the academic rate?
No, the rule that you want to make up. That's not their rule.
Right, but I'm saying that if they were to, like, there are rules for making the college football playoff. In fact, didn't the Big Ten, like, unilaterally change rules last year to get Ohio State into the playoff? Like, they had to play 6 games, and they only played 5. And so they changed the rule like a week before the last game that allowed Ohio State to get into the Big Ten championship so Ohio State could make the playoff.
They changed something. I don't remember exactly what it was.
So you can make rules however you want to make them. Governing bodies can make the rules however they want. I'm the college football playoff. I get to make whatever rule I want. What I don't want is I don't want what's happened with Notre Dame because now it cheapens my product. Brian Kelly, LSU, is telling me, you know what? Winning a national championship is really not that big of a deal. Making the money's the big deal. And that it's going to turn into college basketball like the one and done where the kids don't even really want to be there. We know it's all about the money. And so what you do is you say, okay, here's our rule. Here's our rule. Just like you have to have a standard graduating rate of whatever in order to be bowl eligible, you also cannot hire a coach away from a college football playoff team, or else for the next 2 years, you're ineligible from the playoff.
But does that not cheapen the product too?
Why?
To say that you can't compete for the playoff for 2 years. So let's say that that's the case.
How's it any different from a bowl ban or anything else?
Because if LSU knows for the next 2 years that they can't make the playoff, then what are they playing for?
Then
all of their players are going to leave.
Then they're going to wait.
And then if let's say
they're going to wait to hire Brian Kelly.
If LSU is the best team in the country, then they can't make the playoff, then that cheapens the playoff.
No.
Because the best team in the country isn't in the playoff.
Everything has consequences. Like with all things in life, right? Like there's a consequence to, you do this, here's the consequence. This is then LSU would not have hired Brian Kelly with the speed in which they did. They would have waited one more week until Notre Dame didn't make the playoff, and then they would have hired him. And at least the integrity of that season was still intact because Notre Dame still had their coach. I mean, what are we doing? Like, what we are doing is we are telling people that the actual competition doesn't matter. That's what we're telling people. Recruiting season matters more than football season.
Because recruiting season becomes competition season in 2 to 3 years.
But it's not competition season now. We're saying the games don't matter.
No, they're not.
Yes, you're saying I don't give a rat's ass about my team that has got a chance to win a championship. Could you imagine if, like, the coordinator in the NFL who was going to the Super Bowl was like, guys, I know we're in the divisional round of the playoffs, but I'm just not going to practice this week, and I'm not calling the plays this week, and you guys go out there and knock yourselves out. That's what this is. That's what it is. I would love to know what Belichick thinks. Like, Notre Dame has a chance, because he's a football guy. You have a chance to win a national championship. They're in the same spot that Ohio State was in 2014 when Ohio State won the national championship. And so you have a shot to win the national championship, and you leave the team to go recruit for another team. I've never seen anything like it. I've never seen it, and it's so bad for college football.
I want to launch your stupid idea into the sun. It's a terrible idea. I don't like any of this stuff either. But if you want to change this, you can move the calendar. You could move it. You could move the primary signing day back to, into the middle of the winter. You could move it up. You could move it up to like August. Some coaches have wanted that. Then this stuff happens before seasons start. But you can't sit here and say if you hire a coach who's in a playoff, you get 2 years. It's ridiculous.
So why can I not say that? But they can tell Reggie Bush that he can't have his Heisman because his mom's boyfriend didn't pay rent on a house in San Diego.
Well, I mean, we'll talk about
because those are the rules.
Here.
and I think the rule, and like you can make the rules whatever you want the rules to be. You want to make it 6 games to get into the playoffs? That's the rule. I didn't like when the Big Ten changed it in the middle of the season, but those are rules. That's my point. There are rules in everything. There's a reason. It's like you guys are sitting here saying like, well, I mean, it's just why would they make that rule? I don't know. Why when you fumble the ball out of the back of the end zone, does the other team get it at the 20? I think it's a terrible rule.
Well, they changed the rules for Ohio State because Ohio State was one of the best teams in the country.
No, they changed the rules because they wanted the money from being in the playoff.
Okay.
So let's add more dumb rules. Sounds like a plan.
I'm just saying you guys are thinking that like this is so terrible when all the other rules are bad too, and this rule at least contains the integrity of the playoff, which clearly Brian Kelly doesn't care enough about.
And by the way, Brian Kelly obviously doesn't think he can win a national championship because even if they somehow squeak in, Jared, that team has 0 chance to beat these teams. We've seen Cincinnati thump them in their own building.
Don't need to play the games.
They played all year.
No need to play the games. No need to play the games. No, we're not going to win. We're not going to show up. No need to play. And that's the thing.
Well,
that's
they're not going to get in. They wouldn't have won if they did.
That is what's getting me the most fired up about all of this. Is that college football, I hear people talk about this weekend, and they just make assumptions. Like, oh, well, when Oklahoma State wins, they'll be in, and Alabama will lose, and that's why we play. I didn't think Michigan was going to just absolutely maul Ohio State this weekend. That's why we play. I didn't think the Titans were going to lose to the Texans. That's why we play. Like, that's why. So you're sitting there saying, well, Brian Kelly knows his team can't compete for the title. That's why we play. That's what the games are for. And if we're going to make assumptions about the games and go on to recruiting season, then the games don't matter. And that's what kills me about this is it's like the idea of the games. It's like, oh, no, games don't matter anymore. And I cannot. It's like, what's the point? Predators, are they going to win tonight? I don't know. Yes. All right, don't need to watch. That's what that's like. The game should matter. This weekend should matter. It should matter for Ohio State.
It does, Jared. These games matter a ton. They matter
not to you, because Brian Kelly knows he's not going to win.
And I have no idea if Iowa's going to upset Michigan, if Baylor's going to beat Oklahoma State, Alabama's going to shot Georgia. They're huge games. They all matter. They're fantastic. It's a great sport. It's unfortunate that a guy left when he did. He obviously thought, and believe me, sorry, Caroline, I'm a strong anti-LSU fan from now on with Brian Kelly as the coach. But clearly, he didn't think that he could get to the level, and he's been in the playoff before and has been humiliated. And so he did what he did. But you're trying to cheapen all the games this weekend? Not at all.
No, you are. I'm trying to introduce college football. I'm trying to introduce college football playoff legislation that would keep the games more relevant and, like a team like Notre Dame, more alive for the playoff.
They're not even playing. They're not playing.
It doesn't matter. You're assuming that if they do play, they'll lose.
All I know is they're not playing this weekend. The games are all still just as awesome as if Brian Kelly left or not.
No, but if you're saying Brian Kelly's leaving because he doesn't think he can win, right?
Well, and probably for some money.
Well,
got a lot of money there too.
I mean, we know money's the number one thing here. But do you think that if he thought, like, let's take Ohio State, right? Mm-hmm. Ohio State's probably out of the playoff.
Yeah.
But let's say that Ohio State could make the playoff. Let's put Ohio State in Notre Dame spot. They're sixth. Couple things got to go right. They make the playoff. Do you think Ohio State can win the national championship?
No.
Joe, do you think Ohio State can win the national championship?
Yeah, I'd give them a chance because their passing offense would be actually the one thing I'd like to see against Georgia's defense. I'd give them a chance.
So Ryan Day gets offered a job. Is he not allowed to take it because his team has a chance to win the national championship because he thinks so? But Brian Kelly is allowed to take the job because he doesn't believe in his team.
I guess that's his right.
I mean, everybody's allowed to do it, and there should be no stupid legislation that bans it. We can all just complain about it.
I think that we should get the legislation out that says that Reggie Bush should be held responsible for what his stepdad did, and I think we should get the legislation in that says.
Well, the legislation is out.
No, it's still in.
With NIL?
No, but
that
wasn't NIL. That was whatever the.
That was an agent buying his family a home, but yeah.
That was, I mean, just still like I watched that 30 for 30 yesterday, and when I saw it, I literally was like, I can't believe like people cared about this stuff. Like the fact that Reggie's stepfather would trade on Reggie's name. Oh my goodness. Oh, anywho. Joe, good to talk to you. I already know Caroline's going to say that you win because she already disagrees with me on that, and I said her question was bad.
Yeah, Joe wins.
There you go.
And great win last night for the Spartans, Joe.
Appreciate you, Joe.
Thanks, guys. Yeah.
Joe Rexroad joining us on the program. I mean, what does it matter? Right? You got a team that's got a chance of making the play. Do you think the Titans can win the Super Bowl?
No.
Okay. So let's say that.
That doesn't mean I don't want to see them try.
College jobs open right now.
Okay.
And Todd Downing gets the offer.
Okay.
Should Todd leave the Titans right now?
I mean, if I were Todd Downing, would I do it? No, because I think that's a pretty crummy way to leave a job where you got an opportunity. Can Todd Downing do it if he wants to? Yes, that's his right.
See, I mean, I think that that's like Bobby Petrino, which is like the mortal sin.
And that's bad on Todd Downing if that would
NFL.
be what he would choose to do. And I think what Brian Kelly did to Notre Dame was really crummy. I think the way in which he left was bad. I think the timing in which he left was bad. But that was his right. He could do it if he wanted to. If he didn't want to do it, he wouldn't have done it.
Right. But I don't see like this idea of rights. I mean, it's not a right to coach college football. It's not a right to have a team that's Division I.
No, but it's your right to leave a job if you want to go take another job.
Sure. But I'm the playoff, right? Like I'm the playoff.
Okay.
I'm Bill Hancock. So the only thing that matters is my allegiance to the playoff, which is the TV ratings of the playoff, the integrity of the sport that awards a championship. And I'm sitting here watching what Brian Kelly did, and I'm thinking to myself, well, that's not right, right?
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Okay, this is the only thing I can do, because if I do this, I guarantee you it never happens again, right?
Probably not.
Okay, so what's the bad in it?
Because there's a lot of moving parts to it as well. I mean, like, okay, if you say Brian Kelly has to stay at Notre Dame, okay, what's going to happen with the coaching fulfillment at LSU? Is that going to change the way that other programs fill their coaching staffs? Is that going to change the way that you recruit? Because that is a big thing.
But why would Bill Hancock care about that?
Because you are when you're in charge of the college football playoff, you're also in charge of the integrity of college football as a whole. Integrity
of college football? The guy left. We're the team that might win the championship.
But there are so many. It's not just the fact that, he left for a team that might win the championship. Yes, we've established that's bad, but that's not Bill Hancock's fault. Brian Kelly did that because he wanted to do that, because he wanted to take a paycheck at LSU, because he thought, okay, it's better for me to leave Notre Dame now and take this paycheck at LSU and take my job at LSU. If he doesn't care about his team, that's Brian Kelly's prerogative. That's not Bill Hancock's fault.
So I shouldn't, if I have the ability to stop people from doing crap things that affect my sport.
Because if you stop allowing them to do it, then there's going to be different ways that it affects the sport.
But why would that matter to Bill Hancock? All he cares about is the playoff.
Okay.
Right? So he doesn't care about recruiting. That has nothing to do with him. So why would he care? Who cares about recruiting season?
Is Bill Hancock, totalitarian government of the college football playoff? Because it seems like the college football playoff is having a really tough time passing any sort of changes.
No, Bill Hancock.
So it's going to have to go through a lot of people who do care about the ins and outs of college football. You think? Do you think every single person on that panel is going to be okay with that? Because they understand that recruiting matters.
I just don't see, to me, recruiting can happen regardless of what. You
and
can
also,
do
let's
whatever you want with recruiting. But I'm talking about the playoff. I'm talking about the championship here.
Okay, well, let's talk about, let's
continue this on the side. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, and I'm sure a lot of you want to weigh in on this as well. FanDuel Sportsbook, my official sportsbook app right here on Stillman and Company. Big Thursday night football game tonight that I love to tell you about my official sportsbook app, the FanDuel Sportsbook app, because they are giving you great odds on Cowboys Saints. That's right. New customers can get 30-1 odds on either team to win. That means you can win $150 on a $5 bet. I am going to go with the Cowboys tonight, and I'm going to go with the Cowboys big because, I don't really trust Taysom Hill, and I don't think the Saints are very good. FanDuel is sports betting made simple, and they're always hooking you up with great offers. That's why it's the #1 rated sportsbook app in America. It's easy to use, and it's safe and secure. When you win, you'll get paid in as little as 2 hours. If you're already a FanDuel Sportsbook user, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with $50 when you refer a friend, plus your friend will get $50 too. See for yourself why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook and my official sportsbook app. Just sign up with the promo code JGM before Thursday night's game tonight, and you can win $150 on a $5 bet. That's promo code JGM. 21 and older and present Tennessee. New users only. $10 first deposit required. Must wager in a designated offer market. Max bonus $150. Bonus for Tennessee users fulfilled in site credit within 72 hours. Tennessee site credit expires 14 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line 1-800-889-9789.
It's game day in Smashville. Brought to you by Hermitage Design Center.
Sliding across to make the save is Zeros. Drennan in the score.
The Preds seek back-to-back wins when they host the Bruins.
These guys are hungry. They want to do the right things, and you can see it.
Pre-game coverage begins tonight at 6 on Smashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Middle Tennessee, you can count on an award-winning service team for all your home maintenance and improvement needs. Lee Company, we're A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau and trusted by thousands of homeowners in our community. Our team is ready to assist with all your home maintenance projects, heating and air conditioning, plumbing, electrical, appliance service, and more. Experience the convenience of calling one phone number for all your home maintenance needs. Call Lee Company today at 615-567-1000 or visit leecompany.com.
Join us for Saturday night in Smashville. Your Nashville Predators are live at Bridgestone Arena December 4th. Be there to witness the hits, the goals, and all the excitement. Single game tickets are available now, and we want you to be a part of the action. Don't wait. Grab your tickets today at NashvillePredators.com/tickets. Your Nashville Predators take on the Montreal Canadiens December 4th at 6 p.m. Be there. NashvillePredators.com/tickets. Let's go, Preds!
Do great prices and selection on trucks and SUVs still exist? They do in Truckville. Sarah Chevrolet Buick GMC of Nashville has the largest selection in Tennessee. And we keep getting fresh stock on our lots every day. We're committed to offering you our best price and a 5-star experience, which is why we're still known as the destination for trucks and SUVs. Come visit Truckville, Tennessee today in person or online at sarahnashville.com.
Hey, it's Jared for TriStar Moving. If you're looking to move, you need to give my friends at TriStar Moving a call. At TriStar Moving, you'll get 5-star service throughout the entire process. Everything will be taken care of, from covering your floors, banisters, railings, front door thresholds, furniture, TVs, and more. They took great care of my move and made it as stress-free as possible. If you're looking to move, give TriStar Moving a call, 615-640-1219, or visit them at nashvillemoving.org/radio and get 5% off your entire move. TriStar Moving, my official movers.
Touchdown, Leonard Fournette.
Witness tomorrow's NFL stars this December at the TransPerfect Music City Bowl.
Eli back to throw, avoids pressure, steps up, has a man wide open, Armstrong in the end zone, touchdown.
Don't miss a second as two of college football's most exciting programs from the SEC and Big Ten go head-to-head on Thursday, December 30th at 2 p.m. inside Nissan Stadium. For more information on this year's game, including ticket availability, visit MusicCityBowl.com to get your tickets today.
Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey is the official whiskey of the NFL pregame broadcast on ESPN 102.5 The Game. Screwball is the original and most awarded peanut butter whiskey in the world. Made with real whiskey, peanuts, and peanut butter, Screwball is all natural flavor to be enjoyed as a straight shot, in an espresso martini, peanut butter old fashioned, or a PB&J shot with a berry liqueur. Check out screwballwhiskey.com/recipes for more. Be sure and ask for Screwball by name at your favorite watering hole in Nashville.
Enjoy responsibly. 2021 Screwball Spirits LLC, San Diego, California. Whiskey with natural flavors, 35% alcohol by volume.
Hey, it's Jared Stillman. Guys, are you tired of feeling old? You know that feeling. You don't have any energy. You're gaining pounds. Well, guess what? My friends at Invigorate Health are the ones to help you. They don't just focus on one area of the aging body. They take care of all of it with so many different therapies that can restore your vitality and are designed with you specifically in mind. So give them a try. Invigorate Health, if you want to feel young again. Out in Mount Juliet at 615-288-4777 or invigoratehealthtn.com.
Shop on eBay this holiday season to get more for your dough on stand mixers, or get more for your buck on this season's hottest tech and gaming gear. And on eBay, you can even get more Cyber Monday rewind the clock deals. Cyber Monday prices are back for one day only. Get more and save more on premium brands with eBay's can't miss Monday deals. Get more when you get it on eBay.
Saturday night.
The Blue Raiders, 6 for 6 from the field to start this one.
The MTSU Blue Raiders continue their non-conference schedule on the road against the Murray State Racers. Coverage begins at 6:30
on ESPN
94.9 and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, this is Ryan Johansson. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Stillman and Company live at Bridgestone Arena. So I believe that if the college football playoff should pass a rule that any team that hires away a coach of a team that is still in playoff contention should be banned from the playoffs for the next 2 years. Thus, you wouldn't have Brian Kelly going to LSU right now. Now, I believe that if the college football playoff did this, then we'd see that early signing period wiped away, and they'd move recruiting back, and then it would probably be more fair for everybody to have a later signing day and later whatever, and that ultimately they would adjust to that because nobody wants to be banned from the playoff. But Joe Rexrode and Caroline think I'm crazy.
Yes, I do think you're crazy because you're saying that you want to maintain the integrity of games.
Yes.
But whenever you institute that college football playoff ban, that means that the games for the next 2 years for that team don't matter.
But see, no one's going to do that.
Okay.
So what my rule is going to do is my rule is going to keep teams my rule is going to change the other rules. You like the early signing period?
Yes. I don't really care about the early signing period.
Okay. Well, again, you have a team that is in playoff contention.
Yes.
And the coach left.
Mm-hmm.
They could make the playoff. Ohio State in 2016 was number 6 entering the conference championship weekend. They ended up getting in 4th. They beat Alabama. They beat Oregon. They won the national championship.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not saying that Notre Dame can whatever.
Notre Dame could still win the national championship. I
Right.
hear what you're saying, though.
I mean, what is the point of lifting all these weights? And what is the point? We can't do this where recruiting season or NBA free agency season becomes more important than the actual games themselves. And the NBA's done that. That's why half that league tanks. And at trading deadline, there's 13 people involved in one trade, and that trade is to clear salary cap space so they can go after the next big free agent. And then, that's not good for the sport.
And I'm with you. Coaches leaving their teams early is bad for the sport. But if you institute that kind of rule, then you're doing a few things. Either a team is cool with it and they say, we're not going to go to the college football playoff for 2 years, which I don't think any team would do. That hurts the player. If you say, okay, this coach has to stay here until after the college football playoff, then you're
until his team is no longer in contention for the playoff.
Until his team is no longer in contention for the playoff, which you would have to define that in some way.
Sure, top 8,
is that top 10? Is that top 8?
15,
and then
whatever.
In week 12, does that shrink? Whatever. Then the players for a team with a head coaching vacancy could potentially be hurt. The coach that has to stay there, those players could potentially be hurt, because if a coach already knows that he is going to leave for another program, he's already mentally checked out. And you can't control what a coach would do. You can't control how a coach would react to that. And that in turn affects those players. I just don't think that imposing more limitations and more rules, I don't think is good for the sport.
I don't think that coaches with teams eligible of winning the championship walking away before the championship is decided is good for the sport. And I think that's way worse for the sport than, God forbid, that they have to wait an extra week to hire this coach. Let's go to your phones. And again, everybody will adjust whatever they do if I make that rule as head of the playoff. Let's go to Nate, phone line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Go ahead, Nate, quickly.
Jared, would you say that every person in this world is unique in their own way?
Sure.
So that means that not everyone is going to react the same way or coach the same way or whatever in whatever situation. With you trying to force someone to stay where they obviously don't want to be, I believe that a lot of coaches would coach differently towards the playoff, towards the championship game. It won't be the same as if they actually wanted to stay.
I don't know what that means. I have no idea what you mean.
Thank you, Nate. If I could interpret the caller, I think maybe, let's say Brian Kelly. Let's say this rule is...
He would sabotage his own team.
For $10 million a year? Because you're saying that he's essentially sabotaging his own team right now.
Ian, could you imagine Floyd, a football guy like Floyd, hearing something like that?
No, not really.
I mean, I got to tell you, there have been a lot of moments, obviously, over the last months where I've been like, man, I wonder what Floyd thinks. I truly believe Floyd would be dog cussing Brian Kelly right now.
I mean, I'm not condoning what Brian Kelly did.
The football people that these people that love football. I don't love football like Floyd loves football. I can't watch I think Sally said it one time to me. She was like, he'd rather watch third graders in Canada playing Pee-wee. That's how much he loves football. And those guys, I can't imagine. I can't imagine them sitting there and saying, well, let's skip this meeting as we get ready for the Super Bowl because we need to start talking about next year's draft. I think that would be a cardinal sin, especially if it's let's start doing this on behalf of somebody else as opposed to being ready for the Super Bowl.
I'm not saying what he did was right. I'm not saying what he did was good. I think he was actually incredibly crummy.
But you just don't want to put anything to keep people from doing that again.
Because it's not just an isolated incident. It's not just saying, oh, Brian Kelly, you can't leave Notre Dame for LSU. There are going to be so many repercussions and so many changes that come from that rule.
I just told you what's going to happen.
Ultimately,
they're going to
affect the players, and that's the most important thing.
They're going to move the signing period back. That if that were to come to fruition, if the college football playoff said you're ineligible, They would then move the signing period back after December so that would not be a conflict there. And then teams would wait. I'm asking LSU to wait 1 week. 1 week. They would wait, and then they'd hire Brian Kelly when Notre Dame is not in the playoff, and then everybody could go on with their life.
And then everything's happy and fun and great, and college football is perfect?
How's it different?
I mean, I don't think that – I mean, I think that in
We've
any way possible.
We've had a December signing period for 5 years.
The signing period doesn't really bother me.
But that's the whole point of it. That's the whole point of it. That's it. Like, the signing period is the whole point of this. If it
but
wasn't
changing the signing period doesn't bother me. It's the fact that I know for a fact that if a coach wants to leave and wants to take another contract and wants to make more money and they want to do it right now, they're going to find a way to do it.
Fine. Then let them. But then they're not playing in the playoffs for 2 years. Fine. Knock yourself out.
And then
the school's not going to do it. So then the coach isn't going to be able to sign. It's like this is any other sort of regulation with anything that regulates anything. It's like, oh, yeah, no, you can't do this because federal income tax law says you can't.
I would say
well,
if you are already, if you're going to change the signing period, then just institute a freeze. Just say you can't. There's not going to be a consequence down the line.
The playoff doesn't control that. I'm talking about what the college football playoff controls. They can literally decide membership in or out. What they control, that's what they're in charge of. Predators Game Day is next here on Stillman and Company. Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. I love my guys at Hiller. They are absolutely fantastic, and they do a great job every time they come to my home. Hiller can do the same for you. Hiller is giving away cash for the holidays, and they're going to be celebrating from now until the end of the year with special deals. Hiller wants to make sure every child experiences the joy of Christmas this year, so they're donating $50 in toys to Toys for Tots with every tankless water heater purchase and giving away a $250 Visa gift card with each unit. Get a $500 Visa gift card when you buy select new HVAC systems, or get a $500 Visa gift card with the purchase of any new whole home generator. They've got more specials online at happyhiller.com. As always, Happy You'll Beer. The service is free, and these deals are only available until the end of the year, so schedule today. Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical, my guys.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 Code Red meteorologist Greg Bobis. Warm temperatures will continue into tonight. A low of only 45 degrees. Back into the 70s again for your Friday. Mainly sunny. High temperatures in the low to middle 70s as we push into the afternoon.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Closer, bolder, golden. Nashville SC Stadium is arriving in 2022, and season tickets are on sale now. With just 150 feet between the pitch and the last row, you'll be right there in the action no matter where you sit. If you thought soccer in Nashville was a party already, you ain't seen nothing yet. So come on in, grab a seat, and stay a while as we open a new era of Nashville sports. For more information on season tickets at the new Nashville SC Stadium, visit nashvillesc.com/22. Ticks.
Finally, the return to live concerts. Evanescence. Hailstorm. A powerful rock experience returns. Special guest Lilith Czar. This Friday night, Bridgestone Arena. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. And stream the brand new Evanescence album, The Bitter Truth. Available everywhere. Evanescence. Hailstorm. Together, live.
It's the 12 days of Christmas at Genesis Diamonds with the best gift ever. 5 years, 0 interest financing. That's right. For the first 12 days of December, you get the unbeatable Genesis value price, plus 0 interest financing for 5 years with nothing down. Shop early for Christmas and get that $5,000 pair of diamond stud earrings for just $84 a month. Or that $6,000 diamond eternity band, just $100 a month. Our showcases are stocked with the best holiday gifts. Rings, earrings, pendants, bands, colored gemstone jewelry, unique handcrafted one-of-a-kind gifts that are sure to be the headliner gift at your house this Christmas. And now through December 12th, everything's affordable with 5 years, 0 interest financing. How about splurging on a $10,000 tennis bracelet and paying just $167 a month? Don't miss this special finance offer now through December 12th. Merry Christmas from Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs. On approved credit, see store for details.
Hey, Darren McFarland here, and let me tell you about my friends at Curation CBD. If you're like me and have aches and pains all over your body and you've been searching for a solution, well, I've got it. It's Curation CBD. Curation means healing, and that right there says it all. Curation is locally and organically sourced CBD products right here from Middle Tennessee. From seed to final sell, Curation is passionate about providing quality products for everyday use for athletes and for pets, too. Order yours now at CurationCompany.com. Curation CBD, curated for life.
It's Cyber Week at Electronic Express, but the deals aren't just online. We're bringing big savings on everything in the store. Get the hottest gifts like 4K TVs, computers and gaming, smart home, housewares, and more. That's not all. Upgrade your kitchen just in time for the holiday season with huge savings on all appliances. Plus, buy now, pay later with up to 36 months free financing. Get Cyber Monday prices all week long at Electronic Express. We make it happen.
Are you worried about your holiday shopping and your gift arriving in time? The Omni Nashville Hotel has a great idea for you. How about gift cards to their world-renowned Mocara Spa or Nashville's fine dining favorite Bob's Steak and Chop House? Surprise your loved ones and friends with this special gift idea and take out the hustle and bustle of fighting traffic and long lines this holiday season. Simply go to OmniNashvilleHotel.com to purchase your gift cards. That's OmniNashvilleHotel.com for gift cards to Mocara Spa or Bob's Steak and Chop House.
Robbie Stanley.
Maybe it doesn't hurt their bottom line this year. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen on that front.
Joe Rexrode.
5 guys who are on the roster are not going to be on the roster.
Get your morning started with Robbie and Rexrode every weekday from 6 to 10. Presented by Volunteer State Bank on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is on. Delivered by TriStar Moving.
It's Hockey Night in Smashville.
Deflects back for Duchesne. His shot stopped, and the score!
What are the keys to victory tonight? What's being said in the locker room? Where do the Preds reside in the Central Division standings? Jared Stillman has the latest now. With Preds Game Day on Stillman and Company. Brought to you by Pella Windows and Doors of Nashville. This is Smashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Predators Game Day presented by Pella Windows and Doors. The Stadium Series jerseys are out, and I'm going to be honest with you, I think I've kind of changed my opinion on them. I think I like them.
All right.
When I heard, because it does have the hatch print, vibes on it.
I like that it says Smashville. I think that's fun.
I kind of like them. And I know Twitter doesn't, but then again, Twitter doesn't like things I like anyways.
Twitter doesn't like anything.
Predators tonight, 12-9-1 against the Bruins, 11-8-0. Good for 22 points. John Hines on the Bees.
You know, we had a good practice yesterday. We had a meeting, worked on some things that we felt were needed to be adjusted, but also some reinforcement clips. And then, guys had the rest of the day off, and then this morning we had a meeting, and, we should be ready to play. I think that the week, from a schedule perspective, works out really well for us, and now we just got to make sure that we're ready to play at the level we need to here tonight, mentally and physically.
Predators need some consistency. I picked the Predators to win Tuesday night, lose tonight, so I guess I'm kind of on that bandwagon, of being right. But Preds win tonight or no?
See, I personally don't think that they will, but I want to see some consistency, so I do hope that we see a little bit more from them than we're able to see a win tonight.
Darren's coming up next with the pregame show. We'll see you tomorrow.